Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the nest. Please join me and pull up a chair, grab a drink, and welcome in Sock Dudums.
Hey, that's me! Thanks for having me, Zevo.
That is you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling real good, real energized. Like we were discussing before getting in here. I'm absolutely ace in my classes. Pleasure to have in class. I'm getting all the gold stars. That I can't be stopped.
You mean we talk before we go live? But my immersion.
Maybe. Oh no, my kayfabe. Kayfabe? How does you actually pronounce that? Like, really?
I don't know.
Someone that watches wrestling, quick, give us an answer.
We need Go-Go. Somebody go grab Go-Go.
Someone grab Go-Go. Someone grab Tank. If you just type it out, just like I'm still not gonna read it. So you know, I've made my bed. I've decided to be ignorant.
You've decided to be ignorant. How dare you? So for those of you, for people who might be new, Sock, do you mind giving a brief introduction as my tracking starts to freeze?
Hello, everyone. I'm Sock Dudums. I am, as you can see, a sock puppet cartoon VTuber. I got googly eyes, and I can only face this one direction because otherwise my wrist will break.
Wait, I could do something magical. Hold on. You know what I can do? Hold on. I'll work on it, but you keep going.
Oh. I was gonna dramatically pause while you did the thing.
Oh. I can do...
Dramatic pause.
And then we're gonna transform.
I thought I was behind the table here. Is this a table? Or is this just like a tenant or something?
That is a table. You were behind it. Then we can flip it.
There we go.
Then we've got two of you.
My nemesis. Hold on.
Nemesis.
Oop. This calls for the angry eyebrows.
The angry eyebrows.
I love this. So one thing that I should probably start with, as you can tell, Sock Puppet putting a lot of effort into basically like, hey, my theming is consistent. I am dumb and a cartoon. Community's called the Laundry Pile. Not too dissimilar from the laundry pile that I have in the corner of my room, where it may or may not be clean. I haven't decided yet. You know.
Yeah. So is there is there a story behind that? Do you have like an actual story behind it, or was it just like a decision you made? You're just like, this would be really goofy and fun.
Okay, so long ago, in a far-off time of 2012, when I was still playing Team Fortress 2, I played the medic, and I decided that I was going to be Doc Shoot'ems.
Doc Shoot'ems?
Doc Shoot'ems, and that was what I was for about... Wow, at this point it would have been like a decade. And then just... I don't know when it happened, really. I think I was just sort of like saying it out loud when I was trying to figure out, like, first getting into the VTubing scene. Figured I'd dive right in. And then, you know, you say it aloud, you get like, what if instead of Doc Shoot'ems,
it was Sock Dudums?
And then it's like, God. Hey, yeah, there's no like... So from there, it's just like, you know, just pick with the idea, play with it, just kind of expand on that. What does that mean? Because, like, let's see. At the time, this would have been, like, the end of 2021, like, early 2022, when I was kind of still working on this.
Okay.
So at that point, like, we had a lot of kind of anime characters, a lot of monsters, a lot of goblins. So many goblins. Oh my god,
Monsters where?
so many goblins. Uh, like,
Totally not a monster VTuber in front of
yeah.
you.
I can't believe that this is a call out post against Zemu in his own stream or their own
I,
stream. Sorry.
so clarification, because I've had a couple people catch themselves in that. They do work for me.
Cool.
And it doesn't bother me enough to correct people. So
Fair enough. All right, but
I know you
this is a
asked me
call out
about
post
that
on
stuff
Zemu's
later.
own stream.
We will visit that stuff later when it comes to that, because I know what's something you mentioned before.
Yeah.
I will go into a little bit more detail about that later.
Cool. All right. Just don't wanna cause any hurt feelings.
Nah,
That
there's
would be bad.
no. If you're worried about like dysmorphia or anything like that, there's none of that there. So.
All right. But yeah, basically, like, there weren't many or any inanimate objects as far as I could tell at the time, and I was like, you know what? Googly eyes. They're fun.
Wait, do I
And
have? Keep going.
exactly. Like, it's just oh, do you have some? They do. Perfect. I do love that image though. Excellent. Excellent. When do we get the goggles with the googly eye variant?
Goggles.
The googly
So
goggles.
so I could do. So I actually have. Oh my god! Hello, Core. I know I haven't really said much hi to chat specifically yet. So I could do this.
Oh, that's very good. That's extremely good, actually. Hold on, let's can you make the goggles bigger and the googly eyes a little bit smaller? Yeah. All right. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas.
I think the pinning's not quite accurate, but that's fine.
It's enough. It's fine. It's fine. It's still funny, but
yes, it is hilarious. Real quick though, I didn't really get to say hi to chat. We got Squall, Kisa, Eli.
hi, chat.
Hello. And Minnie. Minnie got first. Minnie always gets first though.
Minnie, you were here before we started.
I'm gonna give Kisa.
Minnie
a
never
shout out,
left. Minnie lives behind the bar.
Actually, though, Minnie does have like like has found her way into like the wall somehow. I don't know how she did, but Kisa gets a shout out.
Kisa Bobisa.
Yeah. I love how Kisa shows up in chat and the first thing that you see is just the dancing little pixel guys.
I love Hat Guy so much.
Is that what she calls it, Hat Guy?
It is Hat Guy. It's for a game jam? Or a game that I know that Kisa is working on. I don't know much about the specifics, but I'm excited for it because it's very cute.
It is adorable.
Mm-hmm.
I did interrupt you. You were talking about the story behind your design a little bit.
I mean, I also was just like, no, chat. I'm the one being interviewed. It's me. It's me.
How dare.
But yes.
So that's that was kind of the story behind your design.
That is the story behind my design. I wanted something like, well, one, I wanted it to be minimalist because I think that's funny.
Yes.
Like, in a sea of just like, oh my god, there are so many over-designed VTubers.
In a sea of Genshin Impact characters, how great is a sock?
Just like the most basic I could possibly be. And then just like someone will pop in, just like be amused by the novelty, and then hopefully they'll stick around because I'm fun to be around. Who knows?
Right?
Possibly it worked. I don't know.
I do like popping in your streams because occasionally you tend to stream during the day, which lines up with like if I'm in the middle of work, I'll throw some headphones on and put you up on there, and then you basically body double for me.
Yeah.
It's actually fantastic. So outside of on your stream, for those who might not know, I know a lot of people here do, but for people in the VOD or anybody new coming in, what type
Hi,
of content
VOD
do you
watchers.
create? We appreciate VOD watchers.
If you're in the VOD, drop a hashtag googly eyes, just so that I know, just so that Zimu knows, just so that like everyone here knows that you're watching the VOD.
Oh my god!
And you think googly eyes are fun. I'm going to check this later.
The VOD will be actually that would show up on like YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'll be able to like actually track that metric if this goes up on YouTube.
That's gonna be great. It is on you. I do actually upload my VODs to YouTube, which I have acquired my my YouTube handle.
Oh.
So it's youtube.com. I think it's just youtube.com/@ZMaren. If I remember off the top of my head. Yeah, they're so I guess they're getting rid of the stupidly long channel name, like the channel links, and everybody is supposedly going to be getting handles.
God.
And I think everybody's supposed to get it by the 14th of November, but I had mine as of like 3 days ago.
Nice. So long, YouTube user 4x6YCU EZ3. I don't think that was even long enough to get like close.
No.
That might also be someone like actually someone. It'd be really funny if just like The problem is I don't remember what I actually just said, so there's
That's
no way
fair.
that I can look it up later. But
Fair.
I thought about it.
That would have been hilarious if you were just typing it in as you're writing it.
No. First thing you should know about me, Zimu. I am very lazy, but I do commit to the bit. I do not put much foresight into these bits. They just kind of go.
That's fair. So I know you do point and click adventures.
Mm-hmm.
You do Gunpla.
Mm-hmm.
I know you do philosophy, a lot of philosophical discussions, often overlapping with the other two. Is there anything else that you do?
Go to Burger King mostly. To those of you that don't know, it is quite possibly my greatest and most terrible invention. It is something to truly be feared. I call it the mystery button.
The mystery. I think I found that by accident.
I think you did. But it has currently 15 options that are all just like chaos mode. Let's see. One of them is end the stream immediately. One of them is I need to like immediately stop and go play the Google dinosaur game. Another one is like I need to just like drop everything I'm doing and go get Burger King while the stream is running. I've gotten that one.
So what do you do? Just you like leave the model up on screen and then just go get Burger King?
I leave the model up on stream and I have to like live notify from like my phone, just like dropping a Twitch chat, just like ordering chicken fries.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
And then I show up and just like, bam, there it is. Behold, the BK. I don't even like Burger King. I just think it's the funniest out of all of the fast food places.
I think the one that I got, just because I was like, hey, I have points because I've been lurking in Sock's chat. I redeemed it, and you drew me as a Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yes. Oh man. Oh, I've got to talk about my collection now. So, I collect poorly drawn Spider-Men. Like, if you've done art and you have like, I need to do like art. Here's like a discount thing for just like a piece. If I have found you, I will request a poorly drawn Spider-Man. It has 2 provisos. 1, you cannot put any serious effort into it. This has to be lazy. And for a lot of like serious artists, that's actually pretty tough because they have to like actively fight a lot of their instincts. It's very funny.
Right.
Part 2, it has to be identifiably Spider-Man. That's it.
That's amazing.
So I have at this point, I think somewhere in the range of like 30 of these just like poorly drawn Spider-Men.
That's great.
I love them all. They're magnificent. I've been collecting them for the last like 5 years.
That's amazing.
The gallery.
The gallery. So
One day I'll get them printed out. I will put them up on my walls.
So this is kind of like almost like a 4-parter for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know a little bit. So what got you into? We'll start off with Gunpla.
Okay, this is a long and winding story, but the
Yes.
TLDR is I'm definitely somewhere on the spectrum, and I know this because I was absolutely fucking obsessed with Bionicle. Pretty much from the day it dropped. Like, I was into the lore, I understood like everything. Like, I had the comics, I collected pretty much all of them. I still have the movies on DVD. Like, my debut was literally playing the Flash game from 2001.
Yeah,
So,
that was awesome too.
I was deep in the paint, and Bionicle ended. It went out with a whimper. It was a tragic thing. I've always liked, big robots and building things, basically. That's more or less it. I just kind of happened to spot a robot that looked cool when I was in New York City in a Asian bookstore. It's still there. I do not remember the name of it, but it was a cool place. Brought that home, and I had no idea what I was fucking doing with it. And
That's
so
great.
I hated it.
You hated it?
I hated it. It was just like, what is this floppy mess? Like, it felt so light and loose, and I just like, ew, gross. Because I was, again, used to like how solid like Lego was. Because
Yes.
they QA the ever-loving fuck out of everything there.
Yeah.
Like, it is unreasonable pretty
Yeah,
much how much they go in.
They also design it. Part of the reason why it's so precise is because they design it so that even with wear and tear, it still functions as Legos.
Mm-hmm. Which
It's
is unfortunate for a lot of the later Bionicles where it's plastic chemistry is such a weird fucking science. Any Transformers fans in the chat, you all know about gold plastic syndrome. Shout out to gold plastic syndrome.
what?
To those of you that don't know, gold injected plastic tends to be like the most brittle out of any of like the plastics, just because again, plastic chemistry is bizarre. So if you get any sort of like gold injected like figure, and this was like especially prevalent on like a lot of Transformers, just because of whatever Hasbro was doing to them, but they would basically just like turn to sand.
Oh no.
Because they just couldn't hold together. So
That's absolutely terrible.
Yeah. And some of the later Bionicles had like lime green pieces, and those are unfortunately infamous for breaking.
Scorpling, hello, welcome on in.
Ghost Neko Raid!
Ghost Neko
Scorpling,
Raid, hello.
welcome!
Welcome on in. How's it going? If I can get a shout out for Scorpling. Actually, while I'm here, I'm just gonna give.
That wasn't what I wanted to do. You saw nothing.
I did the @tag. Here we go. Scorpling, how's it going? How's your raid? Or how was your raid? How was your stream?
Hopefully the raid was pretty good.
The raid was.
I mean, they're here, aren't they?
She's been playing a lot of Rust lately. How was Rust? How was your stream? I think you mentioned you were the other night. You were mentioning gearing up for a stream-wide raid or something,
Ooh.
or the not stream-wide, a server-wide or something like that.
I
I
don't
know
know what
she's
I'm doing
been
here.
you dancing to the music.
I guess. Elevator going down. Oh wait, where's the mouse? Oh, and I'm frozen. Hold on. You can see my mouse, so it's whatever.
It's just vibing on Rose. Decided to just start a new. Oh, okay. Sock
Get up an
hiding.
escalator.
I absolutely love your model. I'm not gonna lie.
Listen, like, if you see me and are just like, that's funny as shit, it's done its job. It has succeeded
Yes.
at the exact intents of what I wanted to do with it. This is the joke. It's me. Whoa, where'd I go?
Where did you go? Did you just yeet yourself off the screen?
I just did the, like... It did. Hold on. Where's... Nope, there we go. I just, like, completely lost tracking and disappeared. Just to be, like,
That's like a
perfectly timed disappear, you know. You know the one.
Zemo, I'm not feeling too good.
I don't feel too good. Or I'm just like... The problem is I don't have the kill switch on this mic. Otherwise, I'd just be like, whoop! And just be gone. You know the thing.
Anybody coming in with the raid that doesn't know me, my name is Zimaren, Harpy VTuber, variety streamer, owner, proprietor of The Nest here on Twitch, and I'm joined by Sock Dudums.
I'm a menace.
I do have a collab command set up, so if you guys want to check out Sock, their link should show up in chat.
If you're one of the maniacs that happens to either work from home or check Twitch during the day, since that's when I tend to stream.
I'm a maniac. Hi, Caves. How's it going?
Oh man, I gotta tell this story about my from my old job. I am an escapee from the profession of IT, informational technology.
An escapee.
It really is an escape, because otherwise it's... Oh god, it's a prison. People don't know how much IT is just like... This is the service industry, except instead of being mistreated by, like, customers, it's other people that, like, it's your coworkers, effectively.
Oh, no.
And it's terrible. It's rough. But, anyways, there was this one engineer.
I was gonna say, did you do any in-person IT, or was it all?
Oh, this was in person. This was specifically IT for a hospital. I did like a lot of medical IT. That was what I specialized in, getting used to the electronic medical records, etc., because those are a nightmare.
I can imagine.
So here's what, like, legally it requires in order for you to actually, like, make one of those. You need to have been through med school already and be the software engineer to design it. So just, like, you can imagine that the UIs are just fucked. The whole thing is fucked. They are incomprehensible.
And that's to make one.
That is to make one. And then, like...
How much can you tweak afterwards? Like, how much can you get someone else who's an expert in the field?
It's very difficult. There's only a handful that are, like, actually available, because HIPAA regulations basically, like, requires... Yeah. If you're, like, in some sort of, like, medical position, you've got to have some kind of electronic medical records. That's just the requirement now. So the hard part becomes, you know, getting the different ones to talk to each other. It's a mess. It's a nightmare. Do not recommend. It was a rough time. Anyways, when I worked at the hospital, there was this one engineer, and he had 3 systems with him at all times. One that sort of like just had like work stuff, work emails, etc. One that he was actively working on as a test environment, and a third. I don't know how they let him get away with this for so long, but it basically just had Twitch running 24/7, just like constantly had streams open. He had like 6 monitors in his cube, and I think we calced it out, and he actually was using 70% of the bandwidth of the entire building.
So wait, did he have 12 streams up?
I don't know how much he had up, but basically just it was constantly running in that cubicle, and like I guess he was like an engineer or like a sysadmin, so he could get away with it, but it was insane.
That is crazy. That's kind
Good
of like
stuff.
it's kind of like one of those weird stories I've heard where somebody who's either like a software engineer or whatever there was a story that somebody rigged it where they found out the coffee maker was wireless. Taka-chan, hello, welcome on in.
That's pretty good.
Taka! Welcome in.
So the coffee machine was wireless, so it could connect to the network. And so apparently he timed it where when he would log in, the login sequence would trigger a program that was the same amount of time for him to stand up out of his desk, walk over to the coffee machine, and have it ready by the time he got there.
Yep. Engineers, if you like let them loose, are terrifying. But also like so is the Internet of Things, as it is colloquially blah blah blah. English is my first language, if you'd believe it.
Asphyxia, hello, welcome on in.
Mogichi! Hello.
Mogichi? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Asphyxia Orange.
Ah.
Or Mogichi.
So a lot of the music that I play through Spotify is kind of hilariously themed around Top Gun. Not all of it is. Some of it is like joke music. But a lot of it's kind of like based around the theme of the bar, and which was originally inspired by Top Gun.
Mm-hmm. So I have to ask, because this is I'm legally required, because the only other bar that I know that's kind of like Top Gun themed like this.
Yeah.
Do you serve wings?
Do I serve
Is that
wings?
insensitive?
Is it insensitive? So funny enough, I mean, I guess I'll serve whatever Keese is cooking up in the background, in the back of the kitchen. She's been good enough to not blow it up yet. But so the people all the time are like, is it insensitive to talk about like birds getting like, you know, offed or whatever? And I'm like, you know that birds hunt other birds, right? Like that's a normal thing.
It is a normal thing, but also like I don't know. There's a kind of morbidity to it, of just like
it also helps the fact that I'm a harpy.
That does also help, but also to answer Mogichi's question of if I takes off your socks, does it mean it's a stripper song for me? So there's 2 answers to this question. There's the real answer, and then there's the funny answer. The real answer is, I'm a cartoon. There's nothing under here. The funny answer is, I don't know. The host. I don't know if the host survives. Implication.
Yeah, you know, it'd be I just thought of a hilarious idea because my brain is ADHD right now. So have you seen the plugin that can do RGB for the meshes on models?
Oh god, yes.
It'd be hilarious to have you do an RGB suck. where all
Honestly,
your purple,
I have
all your
thought
purple
about
does
doing.
the RGB.
I've thought about doing like variant socks. I think it'd be really fun. Uh, the problem is, as I mentioned earlier, I am in school right now,
That's
which
fair.
kind of limits a lot of the time that I have. But you know, it's interesting. It's rough. Get my mouse out of there. Get my mouse out of there. You don't need to see that.
Well, thank you for the follow. Also, thank you for the follow, Taka-chan. Thank you both for signing up for flight lessons.
Yeah.
Since both of you are new and from Socks Chat, I am a Harpy VTuber with a whenever I'm not here serving drinks and food in the bar and entertaining people and hanging out, I am also a flight instructor because it's funny how many people don't know how to fly. It just naturally comes to me because of wings.
Have you just tried not falling?
I always tell people aim for the ground and miss.
That's from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the fourth one, right?
I believe it is. It's also in a movie. I don't know if they put it in the movie.
I wouldn't be surprised. That movie is like halfway to being like great, because it's like there's a lot of like really good parts of just like Hitchhiker's stuff that they put in.
Cave Story.
And then the other half is just like, this feels like corporate mandated bullshit. And
yeah,
the end result is like, you got 50% that's great and 50% that's like, eh. So the whole thing is just like, eh.
It does a really good job of being like 50% aware of itself, which is great. Burp. Thank you for the headbands, Caves. Caves used to be my roommate a few years ago.
Oh.
So she knows me IRL.
Oh.
What is the other 50% aware of? Corporate bullshit.
Yeah. It's aware of the money they're losing.
Yes. So follow-up question from Gunpla. What got you into like talking about philosophy?
That is just because I'm a fucking nerd.
Fair. Although, as a nerd, I will say that it's not common that a lot of people talk about things like that, like that you delve into.
Fair enough. So, honestly, it's been something that I've always kind of been really into. It's a natural evolution of a lot of the things that I've always been important to me. If you've talked to me for any sort of like length of time, you know that the one drum that I bang on about constantly is media literacy.
Yeah.
It is essential. So many people don't have it, and it's important, and I want to die. But that's not for this stream. That's for my personal life. You don't need to know about that. But media literacy, it's important. Understanding stories, understanding like how the world works and how people are being advertised to, etc., etc. Like, there is so much subtle manipulation that people aren't aware of. And so it's kind of the graduation of that, of like asking the questions and getting like deeper into just the core of people, really.
You just made me think of something. Just the way that you said.
Just one thing?
Well, something that I was going to, I don't know if I remember talking to you, but I don't think I did. I think I forgot when I remember this months ago. So you just mentioned that's how the world works, and you're a sock VTuber. Do you understand what reference I'm making?
No.
Bo Burnham? Mr. Sacco?
Oh, man.
Have you seen the thing that came out? I think it was like last year or the year before.
Yes, but I've mostly suppressed it because it was just like, oh no, this hits really close.
It does hit really, really close. He's got a song where he pulls out a sock puppet and he's talking about That's how the world works.
Listen, there's so much just like I am an amalgamation of all of the things that I've seen, and I'm not even fully aware of it most of the time. It's just like the cognition. There's just like a split. Like on Discord, my status has been a Fight Club reference. I didn't realize that until like a month ago.
Oh, great! That's
It just sort of happened. It came out and was like, this sound like I like this phrasing. This sounds evocative. I was talking to Brett about it actually, and
that's great.
just like, sock, please. I thought you were being like deep and meaningful, and it's like, no, I'm a dumbass. I only know that I know nothing, said some smart guy who might be the father of philosophy. I don't know.
Hello, Libby. Welcome on in.
Libby! How do you draw a blank? By putting your pencil down.
Yes.
Think about it. Or don't. I'm not your dad. I can't make you do anything. I can't make anyone be introspective. The best thing I can do is make you giggle.
As chat just yeets things at me.
Yeah, like that.
I'm gonna double this one up because I know a little bit of stuff. What got you into streaming? What got you into streaming and podcasting?
Okay. Streaming. So, truthfully, streaming is kind of a natural extension of me as a person. I like making people happy. I like entertaining. I like making people feel good, which is why I got into the service industry, and that was a mistake.
You like making people feel good until they chew you up and spit you out, and then you're like,
yep.
I hate people. Well, I don't hate people.
I love people. They do not. They did no. Oh no. So, I did streaming for a while. I was a flesh tuber, but I did not like face cam because I don't want to show my face. That's for me to know, and you to not. It's. I don't want to have to deal with that. I don't want you to have to deal with that. So, I was a flesh tuber for a time. I still did Gunpla. I still did point-and-click games. And then there was an explosion in the friend group that happened. So I walked away from streaming for a while. This is way more than like I can get into comfortably here.
Fair.
Trust me, it was a bad time. And then, the VTubing craze popped up during the pandemic, and it's like, are you saying that I can do the thing that I enjoyed without having to show my face while still being expressive? Sign me up! And then I decided to be a sock puppet, where the only expressions I can make are open and closed.
What's that? Be expressive so I can do things like this? Or,
Now you need to have another one where it's that, but with the googly eyes.
I probably could make it happen, actually.
Probably.
I'd have to double layer an action, I think. To both set an expression and set an item scene, but it's definitely something I could do.
It's something you could do, but we're getting deep in the weeds. We're getting lost. Yeah. We're getting lost. This train has not just derailed, it is like grown jets, and it is flying at a breakneck pace. Who knows where it's going? There are no rails to hold us any longer. We are not constrained by your earthly laws.
As Sock shoots up into space and shows off the fact that they have, like, a super long body.
I don't know what you're talking about. Canonically, I don't know how long this goes. It could go on forever. Who knows? It's just convenient that there's a table here that's blocking the view, so you can't see whatever else is going on down there. Cartoons, man.
So I'm gonna jump forward a little bit because there's a bit of an overlap with questions that I sent you.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna say, so what got you into VTubing, and where did you end up finding yourself to start, and what kind of mentors did you have?
So, finding where to start. Because I had like a little bit of streaming experience, and I didn't answer the podcast question, but that's kind of what I do in my daily life ish, where I do some audio engineering, design. I'm an actor on some podcasts. I've done a little bit of audiobook narration, just audio drama stuff, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. That happened by accident.
By
I was
accident?
doing an actual play podcast with some friends, and it kind of blew up. Technically, I'm a public figure, but we'll not go into that. It's 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 a mess. You can't see the gestures that I'm doing with my hands because I am a hand, or am I? These are the
Or are you?
questions. As far as VTubing and sort of like getting started, this was coming from like a very kind of classic streamer feel because like I'd already done it once before. Like if you were at my debut stream, like I kind of came in as an affiliate, which took a lot of time to do, but it also meant that I could kind of come in swinging with emotes and everything. And that was
Yeah.
neat. That was fun. As far as VTubing, that's a harder question to answer. Mostly because, as I said, I'm an amalgamation of everything that I've seen. So I can't
Yeah.
really pinpoint it to one person. Uh, it was mostly like I enjoy the process of streaming. I want to do these things on stream, and so I did. And then I kind of carved out my little niche of doing the thing that I do. Because, I mean, there's some people that build Gunpla on stream, which is kind of. I'm not saying that I'm a trendsetter, but I am saying that I'm seeing more of it since I started doing it consistently.
I have seen some more of it. It's also getting more really popular and kind of an overlap with and maybe this is why it's becoming more popular because like Warhammer 40K and D&D the figures painting.
Yeah, there's a
That
lot of crossover there, especially like there's also like the new series of Gundam that's coming out, so there's not
yeah,
people getting into the hobby. Like there's
plus plus with the
there's a
game that just
lot of
came out.
factors that are going into it, but it's something that I already enjoyed. It's something that I used to relax, and I can be fun on stream at the same time. So there we go. And then like it'll go from 0 to 50, where like chill building gunplugs. Like, hey, we got a leg done. It's like, all right, now now stuff 7 cupcakes in your face at the same time.
Oh, with the chaos button.
Chaos button. Like it goes from like 0 to like 120, and then like slides back down. And is like, oh no, screaming. Anyway,
I know I love the fact that you'll be in the middle of something and then someone will push a button not knowing what's going on, and then it'll pull up the what is it, the media from
oh, from DMC5.
well, there's also the Metal Gear one.
Yeah, so
Nano
I
machines.
so I knew that I had to put in like some kind of notification for the mystery button because I need to be like, if I am not scared when someone pushes that button, like you should hear the sound of my butthole just like immediately puckering in fear, just like I must know fear. You must know that I know fear. So I had to do like, the Nero. No, sorry, it's Virgil. I am the storm that is approaching. That was great.
Yeah.
The Senator Armstrong bit. Because I knew I wanted the Nero one to kind of like fit better. It made the Senator Armstrong. I don't know what was with the particular like the scale of that video, but I couldn't get it to fit right. So if you've seen it, there are still like kind of sidebars to it, but it will also like give me a goddamn heart attack when it goes off. Also because of like the chroma keying that I have for it. When like at the end there's a big explosion, but that gets partially chroma keyed, so usually there's a big explosion and then you just see like my googly eyes kind of peeking out through the clouds. It's great. Look for it next time. Look forward to it. Or don't.
I don't remember if it's your stream, if you have it, but I think the Virgil, I've seen it before. I forget if it was yours. Where Virgil, I think at one point slashes the screen and then it's chroma keyed where the slash happens.
Yep,
and like
that's
the screen cuts out. That's awesome.
That is the mystery button.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Again, like my stream is like 50% like chill vibes, low energy, like we're having a good time, and the other 50% is just like absolute utter madness. Partly because of like what I'm discussing, partly because of just like this is what I think is funny.
That's awesome.
And usually I'm right. Like, one of my greatest things that I have created is you mentioned my love of point-and-click adventure games. One of my favorite franchises of all time, Sam and Max, Freelance Police. All cops are bad, except for Sam and Max. Mostly because they are only cops in, like, the loosest of senses. Also the loosest of sanities. But
yes,
there is a continuing bit throughout the second season of the Telltale games where someone mentions it's their birthday and just like a mariachi just like suddenly appears, plays a song, and then leaves. It makes zero sense. Like that's all the context you get. It's just like someone mentions it's their birthday and then just like, did somebody say birthday?
Birthday?
And then just like big song and dance, and then it's gone. It's like, excuse me? So I have it set for my chat, and this was like I raised the like frequency of it during my birthday stream because you gotta do that. Yeah. But whenever someone types in birthday into the chat, just like random mariachi, like it'll play the scene, just like jump in, just like, did somebody say birthday? And it like it's kind of become a meme from like
that's awesome.
A lot of people that have talked with me, but I love that bit. It's great.
Occasionally, I'll just be in the stream and somebody would be like, "I heard it's your birthday. Did somebody say birthday?"
Exactly. Just like it's fun because like I think it's funny for someone who's just like, I'm gonna check this out. Like, oh, chill vibes, and then just like, what the fuck is happening? Just like that primal, just like shift from, yeah, I'm enjoying this to just like, I don't understand anything. That is the most amusing thing to me. That is the greatest joke, the greatest satisfaction I can have.
So here's a question. I know you talked about it on your debut. I wonder if you've either changed it, streamlined it, or whatever. What is your lore for SOC?
So my lore is something that basically there's a lot of lore that I imply, but mostly it's just I think this is funny at the time. Officially, my only lore is that I had a twin brother who got lost in the dryer. I have not seen them since.
Oh no.
That is it. That's everything. That is everything.
Are we gonna have a space sock arc where you travel to the void to try to find your long lost twin?
Maybe on. So it's time for my rant. It's time for the rant. All right, buckle up, everybody. This calls for big sock.
Big sock.
All right, y'all listening? Got your listening ears on? Pay attention. This is a very important thing, and it's something that I feel like everyone needs to hear and everyone needs to understand. VTuber lore is like D&D character backstory. You're pretty much the only one who's going to put that much thought and effort into thinking about it.
Yes.
That's it. It's pretty much for you. If you enjoy it, more power to you. Love it, like it. If that's where you get your satisfaction, take it in, enjoy it, appreciate it, love it. But also, I'm seeing someone in the chat getting called out. Whoopsies. You know who you are, but
yes.
basically, like, yeah, I didn't put much effort into it because, much like with my whole kind of situation, it's minimalist. The whole point is that I'm a goofy fucking sock puppet. You don't have to think too hard about it. It's just funny. Like, we're here to have a good time. You don't need to think about, like, the broader implications. I'm not like, I'm the king of demons who has been thrown down and must regain my power. And also I play Valorant 4 times a week. Like, there's a disconnect, you know?
Andessa, hello, welcome on in.
Andessa! Hello.
I'm sure you've heard it. My lore has been significantly streamlined. It was never really complicated, but it's kind of streamlined. Where now it lines up a lot with me, like my IRL with some tweaks. So basically I was going through training to become a pilot. Completed training, and then when I was ready to go and actually like hop in the plane and be an actual pilot, physical limitations, injuries and whatnot said, no, you're not going to be one.
Oh no.
I completed all the training. I'm technically a pilot, but I'm myself not one. So instead, this is the part that slightly differs from my IRL self. Instead, I'm an instructor. So I'm teaching the current generation. If I can't go out there and be a pilot myself, I'm going to teach them and impart the knowledge on them and get them ready for flight in ways that I cannot myself. But also because being instructor doesn't pay all the bills, I have the lounge, I have the nest.
I
also
like it.
I like hanging out with people.
Yeah.
And I kind of figured that being a bartender, talking with people, I figure out the bartender part eventually.
Yeah, it's a process. That honestly, I think that's probably the right way to do it. Where, like, if you're going to write lore, and this is coming from someone who is like primarily like a dungeon master, so this kind of also applies for characters.
Yeah.
Your lore, your backstory, your deal, your story should inform the character, not kind of like the other way around. Because like, otherwise you get into like weird disconnects. This is a classic and the one that I constantly go to. Of like, I'm the veteran of many wars, a top soldier who is returned from battle to find my family murdered. And I must go out on a path of revenge. Or like, I was a former assassin from birth, and just like, you're a level 1 rogue. Like, there's a disconnect there.
I like the ones that make actual sense of like, I'm going out because I want to become a better at whatever. And like, as your character grows, they actually develop and stuff like that. Or like, one of the characters I just played, I ended up dropping out of the campaign because I just got too busy. But one of the ones I started playing, there was a young character who was fairly naive to the world because they were part of a monastery. And they were sent out to go on a pilgrimage. They weren't given like the specifics of the pilgrimage. They basically were kicked out, and they said, when you've proven yourself, you can come back. And the reason they were kicked out is because they had a kind of a lover nothing really happened. It was more
Oh.
of they had a companion that was close to them that was very fond of them. And then when the character didn't return that fondness, they got jealous, and
Dun,
let's
dun,
just say
dun.
their parents ended up charred.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
a vengeful cleric of light was their their supposed like lover. Um, so
Ooh.
needless to say, she ran away. Um, and was not happy with the character. My character that had been very sheltered, and very naive, was now going out, being thrust into this world, into this new adventure, going, I need to prove myself as a hero so I can go back to back to the monastery and make them proud. And then people are like, well, what do you want? It's like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. But yeah, you get it.
Yeah.
Of like you need to have a reason for like why you're doing the things that you are doing. Like
I like
I
fleshing
don't
out
want to do.
I like fleshing out backstories a little bit like that, and like adding
Yeah,
interactions like that, because it gives tools for the DM to potentially mess with things in the future. So
exactly.
so like that DM could have taken her and made her a potential rival later in the campaign.
Yeah. But like there is, a difference between say that and like I am I don't want to do like the veteran of many wars thing again, but like honestly that is a good case of like now you're introducing it like okay, so this is like this world has now like had wars. How many? How long ago? Like there's
Right.
there's a lot just sort of that gets kind of accidentally implied. This goes again to like the media literacy thing
Right.
of just there are more moving pieces necessarily than you think there are. But if you're gonna be just like a VTuber and you're just playing video games, like what's the reason? What is the why?
Yeah.
Like I gotta give a shout out to Randon, even though he doesn't stream anymore, because I think he had probably like the perfect setup.
Yeah.
Like, to those of you who are unfamiliar with Randon, he was the orc salaryman. So like, yeah, it makes sense that like, all right, he's back from work. He's still like suit and tie, still kind of dressed up, and he's playing video games to relax. Like it just kind of works.
Hmm.
Like it all fits.
He's from that
Makes sense.
same, I don't want to say era. He's from that same group. As far as I'm familiar with, because I actually only learned about him as his graduation stream was happening.
Yeah,
Um, he's from that same circle of VTubers that Junk's in, as
I
far as I'm
believe
aware.
so. Yes.
And I believe that they were both really, really close to each other too. Because even if you look at like, if from what I remember, if you look at like their setups and stuff like that, they've got very similar setups with like the computer
Mhm.
screen in front of them and everything like that.
Mhm, 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 mhm. There was VTubing is such a weird space because it's tech like there's no such thing as like the like god like VTubers as just like a catch-all category because
Yes.
it's firstly like it's different tiers. It's mostly like a medium more than it is like a category. It's like I want to still have some sort of like expressive thing. I don't necessarily want to show my face all the time. That's pretty much like all you really need to go into it.
Yeah.
Like people do it for like a bunch of different reasons, and there's just like circles and circles and circles and circles of just different kind of like niches and cliques, etc., etc. I was familiar with Random from some YouTube clips actually. Like
Really?
Towards the beginning, when I was still like kind of learning about VTubers and like dipping my toe in, just trying to see things, experience for myself.
So I came in from a very strange angle for VTubing.
Mm,
So I used to play a lot of League of Legends.
the
I
deep sea
say
lure.
I say I used to because there's a good 2 almost 3 year period of time where I avoided the game. Like just flat out. Um just I'm part of the reason why I
Your blood pressure thanks you.
yes. Uh I don't really have to go into depth as to why I personally don't think it's great content for a channel. But my channel in particular. Um But I do follow some content creators who do create League of Legends content because I like what they do rather than what they're doing.
Mm,
Um, one of those content creators also quit League of Legends and recently got back into it. Trin Immortal.
mm,
Another one that I found during the pandemic, Sunny Explosion. She back before the pandemic did a lot of streaming on Twitch, pretty much focused around League of Legends exclusively. And then was doing doing YouTube stuff basically consistently since then. Has now gotten back into Twitch stuff. But during the pandemic, she learned about VTubing herself and was like,
oh,
"Hey," and started doing like YouTube stuff on top of her normal League of Legends content of like, "Hey,
oh,
here's what VTubing is," like and whatever. And I'm like, "Hey, this is really really cool. This is interesting." But what really made me want to go, I want to do that was she commissioned somebody to get a milk carton VTuber model done of her. She was literally a milk carton with eyes and a mouth,
perfect.
and it was
See, like
great.
it's inanimate objects. We're perfect. Can't go wrong.
You want to
But
hang out with Pat so your brain can melt? Yeah, Pat is very busy too, though. I will say.
mm,
I have hung around in Pat's streams occasionally. Pat's very busy.
so now I have a question for you.
Okay.
This kind of gets into the what you were just discussing with League of Legends. Are there any games that you just like outright will not watch? Like just either it doesn't interest you, it's something like the content like kind of touches a nerve, or just like
So this kind of it's going to be a weird answer. I'm going to start by saying I'm not going to watch somebody just because. So I'm not the type of person where I'm going to watch somebody based on what game they're playing. That also means that I'm not going to stop watching somebody if they play something I don't enjoy. Um, I'm the type of person where I find a creator that I like and I basically support and watch them as much as I can.
mm,
Now, certain games, if you're talking about creators I have no investment in, and you were telling me like one's playing this game, one's playing that game, and I don't know either one of them, I'm more than likely going to pick a creator who's not playing League of Legends, who's not playing Dead
mm.
by Daylight, who's not playing Dota, um, who's not playing Overwatch. I'm
Okay.
sure you can kind of get a grasp of the atmosphere that's being
Yeah.
created by those types of games that I avoid.
Yeah, I could see it. But like
Um,
the
it's
situations that usually arrive for me in that kind of circumstance is so I want to support all my friends. I've got a million windows and a million tabs open, as Zimu can attest.
yes.
Uh, that was a low count for today. By the way, I just cleared some out, which is even more insane. But uh, usually, if you cannot see, like, if I know you and you are streaming, I am probably in your chat. Whether I mention anything or not is an entirely different story.
A lot of times
Like,
I'll be like, "Hi, sock," because you'll do something or put an emote in chat, and you're like, "I've been here." I'm like,
yeah,
"I know, but I also
It's still fun.
I tend to not look at my lurkers because I know that
Yeah,
there's a
we
whole
don't.
issue. There's a whole thing of
Yeah,
like people lurk for reasons, and we
yeah.
appreciate
Don't
lurkers, so
don't
we don't
don't
call them
call out
out.
the lurkers. It's honestly why I'm not super keen on the stream avatars, because it's kind of like it like peels the veil back a little bit, you know?
Yeah, you want to pick a water bottle up off the floor as they got yeeted at me, so you can do a self care.
Yeah, yeah. Hold on. Let me just go down. Yep.
And
Got my
I just
seltzer.
have the one self care package, so.
Mm.
Libby.
But yeah, usually I just I will just sit in chats. Uh, Usually the deciding factor of whether or not like I sort of interact is, are you doing something like there's usually a couple of cases. One, if you don't have too many viewers at the time, I'm going to be like as active as I can to try and like try and bring the energy, make things fun.
Yeah.
Uh, Two, uh, if you're playing a game that I like, uh, if you're playing something like I'm not terribly interested in, I'm probably just gonna keep the tab open and I will be doing my own thing in the background.
That's fair.
Like, or it might just be I am tired and I have to finish my Final Fantasy 14 dailies.
But
Listen, the Omicron quest is really good. It's really good, you guys. Do it. Level up your gatherers.
so I will say this to add on to your question. Specific games I will not play. Not even just not stream, I will not play. Anything related to the Blizzard company.
Yes. Yes.
I don't have to go. I'm sure I don't have to go into details about this.
No.
But there are things that people seem to have forgotten that still have not been fixed.
I'm still upset about how they treated. I'm not sure if I can say this, but I'm still upset about like the original Hearthstone situation. And that's like 5 years ago at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's so much shit that has not been fixed and has only sort of been exacerbated.
Yeah.
It's just gross.
Other games, I will not play anymore. I have completely given up, uninstalled. If it wasn't for my playtime being over 2 hours, would have refunded it. Although I think it might be, I forget if it's you pay Dead by Daylight. I was streaming a couple weeks ago, and I got DDoS'd.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in a hacker lobby where I'm pretty sure I'm 90% sure at least like I know at least one of them was hacking, if not more. And I ended up coming out of the end of that with getting one kill as a killer. That one person I killed proceeded to overload my computer. Granted, I quit the game pretty quickly, so that stream of packets was shut off. But yeah, I was scrubbing stuff off my computer for a while. But yeah, turns out that's been an existing issue that for years and still has not been fixed and cannot be fixed.
Yeah. Gross.
Yeah. Hi, Puppy. Welcome on in.
Is that Puppy Wuppy?
No, it's Dark Puppy.
Oh.
Dark
Puppy.
Question for you.
Yes.
Do you have any long-term goals for either you, your channel, or your brand?
Which is, another way of saying not really. But fundamentally, no. Really, I'm into streaming because I enjoy it.
That's fair.
I like it. I like the process. I like making people happy. I've said it like a variety of times, like off stream, but I don't ever actually want to hit partner. like I don't want to grow to the point where I cannot like actively hold a conversation with chat. Like
That's fair.
that's that's kind of the limit of where I want to be. The funny thing is, and it's strange that you should mention it, uh, I am very good at studying. So I have spent a lot of time and a lot of effort studying metrics, not in an effort to grow, but basically to have a specific like point that I cannot go past or will not
Okay.
go past.
Do you have a
It's
specific number in mind?
the number's usually around 25. That's kind of like that is the peak, which it's a bit of a quirk, but it's working for me. I don't know. But comparing like big streamers with small streamers, like when just like they're focused on the game and like even if you like their personality and you like them, they've got the funny moments, like maybe I've been spoiled. I'm just like it's the difference between, you know, going and like I like this person, I like the personality, getting being able to interact, and like I'm gonna go to the aquarium and look at the fish. Like there's there's a pane of glass between us either way.
Yeah.
It's just like how aware are they of your presence there?
Yeah.
I guess.
Um. Yeah, I can see that. I've definitely been a part of larger streamers' chats, and they've been able to keep up with it. And some are definitely a lot better than others.
Yes.
I guess it also depends on what kind of atmosphere you have as well.
Yes. I think
If
because of low energy, uh even if like I did have like if I was able to have sort of like more like there is a point where like if I did want to keep up with chat, I would have to be at like a higher energy,
yeah,
which I that's a compromise that I don't know if I am capable of taking just because like
it's
I like my comfy streams.
fair.
I'm
Um,
here because I enjoy it.
Here's gonna be an interesting question.
Ooh.
Because I know you do a lot. Is there any other
Mhm.
fields that you want to branch out further into?
Oh boy.
And maybe
Um
things that you might wish you were better at.
so I have I'm a little bit curious what exactly you mean by that, but at the same time, I do have an answer.
So like
But
I guess
yeah,
by
elaborate
what
a
I
bit.
mean by that is like if I were to answer this question, I would say um I wish I was better at vocal control and things that I want to branch out to is also lines up with like a
Mm,
longer term goal is like
mm,
I want to potentially get into like voice acting.
gotcha, gotcha.
But you can
Uh,
also answer however you interpret the question.
fair enough. So, uh, I'm not an artiste. Those of you that know me know that I will say that quite a bit. Uh, I would love to be able to like draw and be able to make my own model because I know just how excited people get when they receive art. Like, there's, I know because I feel the same way. It's just,
It
it's so nice. It's so good.
is.
You love to see it.
I
Uh,
got a surprise art piece last week and I was like, "Holy crap." Like
right?
they just it was like the third I want to say third genuine unprompted art piece I'd gotten. Well, I say unprompted. Somebody else prompted them But yeah, like,
I mean, that's still someone that like, is thinking about you enough to have that happen. That's pretty
right?
sweet. But
But yeah.
for me, as far as what the future holds, and this is kind of top secret because this will be more under like my personal life banner than it is under my VTuber life. But I have been working on a TTRPG system for quite some time.
Okay.
Uh, my timeline is uh pretty much in a good spot. It should be going to Kickstarter sometime early next year. So
Ooh,
look forward to that.
that'd be really cool.
Yeah. I've
Is
been
it is it
working on it a
based
while.
is there a base on something else, or is it, like,
No, this
completely new?
is wholly original. It is a
Oh,
this is a dangerous thing because I can, on the one hand, if I discuss it, that means like there's the blurred line when it does actually like come up between my VTuber life and my personal life. But on the same time, it's something I'm working on and I'm really excited about it. I want to talk about it.
that's
That's the
fair.
dangerous side. But fundamentally, and this actually goes and circles back to the media literacy thing, but it gamifies effectively the like episodic structure of like the specific design that I based it off of was like super robot shows and like Power Rangers.
Okay.
So what it does, the dice basically like uh the dice are like an escalating dice pool
Mhm.
where the more successes that you have sort of like as you go, it gives more forward to the other players as well as you. Uh the caveat is that there's a point where it kind of like shifts phases, like the climax effectively. And
Yeah.
depending on sort of like how much the dice pool has grown, that's going to actually affect sort of like how trying and how dangerous that like climax actually is. So it becomes
Okay.
a little balancing act of like I want to succeed, but I need to sort of like I don't want to succeed by too much. So fundamentally the system is based on like kind of gambling dice because you get to decide like how many dice you're throwing into the pool.
Okay.
So like you want to be able to still succeed, but at the same time, you don't want to go too crazy and end up causing a whole lot of headache down the line. So,
Do the, so
hey,
you
Sitch.
could theoretically do the Avenger syndrome of
Yeah.
being too good and attracting too strong of an enemy.
Oh, yes. That is absolutely what is kind of designed for.
That's great.
I'm very proud
Um,
of it. It works really well. I just need to finish the actual like character building part of it, but the system itself is pretty much set in stone. Very proud.
so this is a question I didn't send you. Uh, do you have a
Blindsided.
cat blindsided? Do you have a character that either you played as or someone ran in one of your games that you were just so attached to that it was just like something that you're always going to remember?
Oh man. I need to talk about Abzug. So,
Abzug?
Abzug. Abzug was an old zealot barbarian, full blood orc. I say old, I mean like old old.
Okay.
He was like I think 68, 65.
Oh wow.
So like just an old timer. This was one of the first D&D campaigns that I was running seriously. I mostly like being a DM because again, I like making people happy and I
Yeah.
also like kind of challenging them at the same time. And this lets me do both. So it's nice. It feels good. Uh this was one of my first games that I was running. So we had a warlock, a sorcerer, and a barbarian, Abzug. So we've got two very high charisma classes. I think they both
Yep.
had like 20 charisma.
Okay.
Abzug was the face of the group.
Huh. How's that work?
So, effectively, the Warlock and the Sorcerer didn't really have a whole lot of respect for the game or the world that I was playing in. And kind of fucked off and were murder hobo-y. Just like
Okay.
in it for their own shit and like random violence. Basically, like they didn't really respect the world or the people, and because this is just kind of how I run games, I had the people effectively like respond that way. And Abzug, who had an 8 charisma, but because he was effectively like trying to be a decent person, like genuinely trying to be his best, like put his best foot forward, was therefore, the one that people would actually talk to and like kind of take to favorably.
That's
So
great.
Abzug was just like a sweet old dude who would beat the ever loving fuck out of you. But because of the circumstances of the campaign, ended up being like, effectively like just the hero, the face of the group, because the other two were off causing mayhem. So I will always remember Abzug.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's a very good character besides that. It was just kind of I remember Abzug mostly because of like the circumstances,
Yeah.
but it's still like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, Like it's little difference either way.
So
But
I had a character that I played as. The name was Iodravo.
how
They
do you spell that?
were Iodrevo.
Where do you put the umlaut?
I didn't spell his name with an umlaut, actually.
But you can now.
But
What's
you can
stopping
now.
you?
So he was was he a protector? He was an Asimar, I know that. I don't know what kind he was. He might have been a Scourge, I'm not sure. He wasn't the one that had wings, he was the other one. Very, very specifically not the Fallen one, because he became a Fallen one later. He was a life cleric, divine soul sorcerer, and eventually picked up levels of warlock, a multi-class. And the whole thing with him was he had a very, very famous phrase that I kept saying as him, and it was, "I have not given you permission to die."
Oh, that's very life cleric. Also, pardon me with just kind of like because I can never not be amused. I'm always amused by my googly eyes. They're just funny. They're just funny. I have a story about googly eyes, but I'll tell you about that later. First, I have not given you permission to stop telling your story. Aha!
So Idravo was he was the son of basically a man whore that sired a number of children that basically equal to the number of the different sorcerer subclasses. And so the character Iodravo was constantly made fun of by his siblings because he didn't have the innate ability to destroy or predict or shape the world in the same way that they could, because he was a divine soul sorcerer. So most of what he did was positive energy. Everybody else had either destructive, negative energy, yada yada yada. So which led him to despise his family, basically run away. He basically sold himself into the servitude of a ship owner and became a shipwright, and basically earned his voyage across the sea to join up with the rest of the party. He was called by Halor.
Halor.
So he, being the life cleric, was in touch with Palor. That's also where his powers for the divine soul sorcerer came from. And then he ended up also making a pact with Palor, which is where his warlock abilities came from. So the same person, the same entity was where all his powers came from. The campaign eventually brought them through what capital city of the time was like a goblin empire, which you can only
Interesting.
just imagine how terribly downtrodden everything was. Like we're talking like there was like open slavery in the streets and stuff like that. One of the other characters was a goblin in the party. And the goblin was like about to literally walk up to slaves that were chained on like a post in the middle of a square, and it was literally about to like the rogue of the party was about to go pick the lock and set them free and let them create chaos. My character, who's worshiping Paylor, who thinks, yeah, this would be an amazing idea, like, you know, this should not be happening, this injustice in the world, and blah 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 blah, literally picks up the goblin by the scruff of their neck and says, we have a mission to do. This would put everybody else's lives in danger. I cannot let you do this. That
Oh.
night, he has a vision where he talks to Paylor, and he basically says, I need to give up your teachings because everything that you've taught me until now is going against the mission that you're putting us on now. And I cannot believe the hypocrisy that you are putting us through right now. And my character fell from grace, giving up Paylor and going from that kind of an Asmar to becoming a fallen Asimar. And my DM thankfully let me completely reclass and let me switch around my stats. And I became it was a druid. I think it was a druid cleric mix. It was a different cleric that wasn't a life cleric. And then I became a shepherd druid. And basically the whole thing was I was saved by the Wild Mother, which is where I got my druid powers from.
Oh.
So that was a lot of fun. But there was some IRL issues that happened with that player, which is where we made the story make sense. But it also worked wonderfully for the development of the character.
Yeah. Yeah. Love to hear that. I had something to say, but I just like completely lost it because I was engrossed in the story. You spun the magic circle.
Spun the magic circle.
So that's an actual like phrase in storytelling. It's basically like it's the bit that kind of gets someone involved in the story. The bit that kind of
Sure.
like the magic circle, so to speak, is the place where people kind of so you know the phrase of just like, oh, this broke my immersion.
Yeah.
The part of like the buy-in for the immersion is the magic circle. That is what it is referred
Okay.
to in kind of educational, like academic terms. But like that's a specific point.
Okay.
Storytelling. It's neat.
I do have another great character that is it's probably my favorite character I've ever run. Their name was Ibby. They were Ibby the Small. They were a kobold, and they were part of a duo character, which was
Ibby.
mine. It was mine and Vix's character. Small. So we did a parody of, if you're familiar with the anime Rising of the Shield Hero.
That's recent, isn't it?
A couple years old, at least the anime, I think.
Time is fake.
Time is fake. So she was like the
This has to look absolutely deranged.
The little itty bitty.
Just a little. I'm just a little guy, and it's my birthday, or at least it was last week. Actually, like literally a week ago.
That's great.
So, you know,
chat. If we can get a happy birthday sock in chat for Sock,
I'm just a little guy, and it's my birthday.
birthday.
You wouldn't beat up a little guy on his birthday. That is one of my favorite all-time shit posts. Not even shit posts, but
why is the response to know me? Did someone say birthday?
Did somebody say birthday? Now I need to actually like learn that. I have a ukulele.
Do you?
Maybe that's what I'll do. Yeah, it glows in the dark and everything. It's great.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I can play ukulele at night and bug the neighbors. Uh,
So what I was getting to with the Rising of Shield hero is the main character, their main weapon is a shield. As
mm,
weird as that sounds, their main weapon is a
doorbells.
shield. So Vix was playing a paladin,
Mm,
heavy armor protector type character. My character, Ibby the Kobold, is very much like the MC finds a companion in the show.
mhm,
So Ibby the character was like her companion. So the story of Ibby, um, he's a little kobold, and one of the things that kobolds are known for are being small, dexterous, and potentially like charismatic, or usually mind. Usually focus around the mind stats as opposed to the physical stats. I made a heavy armor, dual shield wielding kobold.
Excellent. I do want to
They're
take a moment to just discuss the kobold like racial skill of just like what is it? Uh, cry, grovel, and beg.
oh, I did that.
It's so fucking good.
It is.
To those of you that don't know, it's actually like a very powerful ability, but it's basically just you drop down in the middle of a group of enemies and just like ugly cry, and it gives your party advantage. It's very funny.
People either react like, "Oh my god, is this really happening?" or they're like, "Oh," and they like lower their guard.
Mhm.
um, so the story of Ibby, I totally played up the fact that kobolds are typically considered like pests, or they're typically sought out by adventurers in like the early level quests. So Ibby was part of a nest of kobolds where uh they basically worshipped a large lizard, thinking it was a dragon. And so
Mhm.
they would collect little bits and pieces for the dragon for the lizard to build up its horde. And the adventurers come out to deal with said nest because it was too close to a settlement and whatever. Well, Ibby Ibby's group got set upon while Ibby was looting, which meant that this little kobold was in the middle of a cupboard getting shinies, which was silverware,
Ooh.
while the adventurers came in and slaughtered his entire clan. However, he was not touched because he was in the cupboard.
Mm.
The doors were closed.
Mm.
So Ibby, being small and hearing this, decides to grab the closest thing next to him, which is a cast iron pan, and
Mm.
grab a little bit of like cloth or whatever, ties it onto his arm or whatever, and jumps out of the cabin, out of the cabinet, and is like trying to like avenge his clan.
As
The
one does.
adventurers laughed at him and walked away and left him alone. He basically goes into a state of depression and whatever, and as a lone kobold does, ends up venturing into the settlement for food and nourishment, stuff like that. Ends up finding his way to the back alley of a tavern where one particular bard kept getting thrown out because he kept getting too drunk and hitting on too many of the patrons.
As one
But
does.
so he would be in the alleyway, drunkenly talking to this little kobold, telling him stories about his adventures and the wide tales, and telling him the stories about this is like the dragons, and telling him about the ways of the land. So this little kobold gets a whole bunch of hope and everything like that. Um, and like he's literally living in a trash pile behind a tavern in an alleyway, like feeding off scraps and things like that. And at one point, a paladin ends up coming down the alleyway being chased by people because she's actually being hunted.
Mm.
And this little kobold bursts out in front of her, hearing all of this hope from this drunken bard, with this cast iron. Z, hello! He bursts out in front of her, this big paladin with a big tower shield. He bursts out with a little cast iron pan and gets between her and the people hunting her down. And he tries to just protect her because that's what adventurers do.
Mm-hmm.
And so because he did that, she basically took him under her wing, and like started teaching him how to fight and stuff like that. And because he was small, they made his full plate armor out of cutlery, like forks, knives, pots, pans, and stuff like that. So that's like what he got known for. It was
Excellent.
great.
Excellent.
Later on in the campaign, he gets recognized by Bahamut.
Although
Because
I
one of the
must
things
say that is that's taken some that's taken a very literal definition of full plate.
So he gets recognized by
Hello,
Bahamut.
Z.
One of the biggest things about him was he always wanted to grow up to be a dragon.
Mhm.
And I'm sure you're very well aware that kobolds don't grow up to be dragons, but it
No,
didn't change the fact that he wanted to be one. But he gets recognized by
as do we all.
Bahamut towards the end of the campaign, and ends up becoming an aspect of Bahamut.
Ooh.
Post campaign ends up becoming an aspect of Bahamut. It was actually really cool.
Dope. Love to hear it. Very cool. Big fan of Little Kobold.
It was hilarious when the DM was like, "Oh yeah, at one point you have to 1v1 this gladiator NPC," and this little kobold trudges forward in the snow, and it's like, "I'll fight you." And the gladiator's like, "Okay." Unknown to the DM, I'm straight levels of fighter. I
love
beat
how
the
the-
shit out of that gladiator.
Perfect. I just love the gladiator being just like, yeah, I'll beat up a kid. I'll fuck him up.
The kid then
I'll fight
proceeds
any
to climb the kid. So what I literally ended up doing during the fight, I very specifically remember, I end up taking my first attack, hitting the gladiator in the face, and then using my bonus action to shove them down with a shield mastery feat and making them prone and getting advantage on every other attack that entire fight.
Oh,
Because
brutal.
I saved my last attack every turn to keep the gladiator pinned. So when he would try to stand up, I would hold him down, and it was a contest of strength. It was amazing.
Brutal.
The DM was just like, I give up. I'm like, my character doesn't. And they're like, but you're a little innocent kobold. He's like, but when
Innocent
he's in
is-
combat,
Innocent and kobold is not. Those are two words that don't go together.
Yeah.
No.
But it was hilarious to see this little kobold that's walking around in full plate that actually is able to do things with effectively, what do you call it? What's the I'm blanking on the word. It's like when you pick up a rock. Oh, improvised weapons.
Mhm.
It basically was wielding improvised weapons that were shields.
Perfect.
It was great.
Mm. Num. For my birthday, someone got me a bunch of like fun-sized airheads. And by someone, I mean it was Dr. Miss Raven. But
Oh,
ah,
was it like a giant bag of airheads?
there's like 40 in here, so yes.
Jesus.
Oh, I'm gonna be done with these in the next like couple of days.
Wow.
I am a sugar fiend.
A sugar fiend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, Pandessa!
Pandessa! No, I chatted that earlier, but you know.
You bring people this time. Hello, Pandessa. Welcome on in. Hello, Raiders. How's it going? If I could get a shout out for Pandessa, that'd be amazing. Anybody coming in with a raid that might be new, my name is Zima Ren, Harpy VTuber, variety streamer, owner, and proprietor of The Nest here on Twitch. And I'm joined by Sock Dudums.
Welcome, Raiders! It's me. I'm a sentient sock puppet.
Sentient.
Debatably.
Debatably.
Debatably sock puppet or debatably sentient? That one's up for you. I don't have answers. I'm not your dad. How many times have I said that this stream? There will be a quiz at the end.
Pandessa was playing Dead by Daylight. How did that go?
Oh. No DDoSes, I hope.
Yeah, right. Also, I will be clear. Just because I have the opinion of I won't stream or play the games doesn't mean that I won't fault other people for doing so. It's
Yeah.
just my personal beliefs. Um, so Sock,
Yes.
if you could live anywhere in the world where money was of no issue or logistics wasn't an issue because either money could take care of it or whatever, where would it be?
So this is a very funny question to ask me because I have been a great many places.
Really?
Uh, yeah, by the time I was 26, I had been to as many countries.
Wow.
Yeah, not a lot of people know that about me. I don't really talk about it because I'm just like, not that important. Not really worth bringing up. Uh, hmm, I could live in any of those places. Let's see. I think I would like to go back to New Zealand.
Go back?
Yeah. Here on the South Island, I believe. The
It's
North
not the
Island
one
is
called
very pretty.
it's not the one called Disappointment Island, is it?
Maybe. I don't know.
There's a little tiny
It
island
rained
off
for the
the
entire time that I was there, but it was still a very nice place. So,
so
you know.
so there's a little tiny island to the southwest of New Zealand called Disappointment Island.
Mhm.
Uh, I have a clip of it somewhere, but basically, chat decided while we were playing GeoGuessr that they were gonna all go there, and I put my I did whatever. And I'm like, where did everybody else pick? Because I was doing a thing where chat could integrate with me, uh,
Mhm.
and basically compete with me for whoever gets the closest to wherever. And every single one of them found Disappointment Island. It was hilarious.
Amazing.
I'll
Ah,
have to send that one to you later.
you will. Oh, chat. Oh, chat. You're not a
uh,
disappointment. Not to me. Only to yourself. Damn.
as I'm being pelted.
As you're being pelted.
um, if you could share a conversation over a drink with anybody in history,
Any
and have
history.
and have a genuine conversation where they couldn't lie or hide any secrets up over with you over a drink, who would it be and what would you talk about?
Does it have to just be a conversation?
Uh,
Because I can tell you, after this semester, there is nothing that I desire more than to find Immanuel Kant and to slap him silly. What an absolute fucking dickhead. Ah, total knob end. But no. The
for
actual answer.
for those uninformed, who is he?
Okay. All right, rant time. You're about to find out. Prepare to be educated. Oh. So, Immanuel Kant, who is unfortunately for everyone, the was the most influential philosopher through the for about like 150 years, starting in about the 1800s, if I recall correctly. Uh, he founded something referred to as deontology. I don't know who just popped in, but hello.
They're saying hi
Mostly,
to each other. That's
mostly 'cause I
Caves
can't
and
see
Z.
the. Oh,
Also, Pandessa did check
ah,
into the nest.
ah,
Uh,
I see.
check
I
into the
see.
nest is something I have recently added, where people can give me a little visual cue that they're there if they want to tell me that I'm lurking, and I won't
Ooh.
call it out because I don't want to give people the pressure of having their name read out if they still want to let me know you're here.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so Kant, deontology, known for two things. Firstly, he was a moral absolutist, which means the right decision is always going to be the right decision, 100% of the time. If like if you don't do the moral thing, then you are a bad person. You are immoral.
Interesting.
Now, when I say 100% of the time, I mean it does not take into account the consequences of actions. It does not take into account circumstances around the actions. So the classic is like, you can never ever lie. Never ever. Ever, never, never, ever. Z, I am I think 60% cotton, 40% polyester mix. There you go. But this is from Kant's own, like, example. It's the one, like, classically used in the book, and it drives people insane. Because, like, a lot of what he says, it makes sense on the surface. Like, yeah, if something's bad, it should always be bad. That kind of tracks. With that, the other one is people are ends unto themselves. And what that means is basically you cannot use a person as a mere means. Everyone is ends unto themselves. That's the whole thing. So when you use an object and for like an intended purpose, you are using it as a means. So like if you're using a mug to drink coffee, sure, as long as it can hold liquid, it still has use. You can use it as a means to drink your coffee. When it stops being like useful, like if it breaks, then you can throw it away. People, sentient beings, all have our own agency. Therefore, we cannot be used as a mere means. You cannot use another person exclusively as just your own, like, kind of a way to better yourself.
Yeah.
Those are kind of his two things. The problem is, like, on the face of it, like, they make sense. This is fine, this is reasonable. If you pick at it even a little bit, it completely falls apart.
Well,
so
my first, I want to hear what your example is, but my first nitpick
is from Kant, but it's.
I was gonna say my first nitpick is if the cup breaks, can it not be repaired?
So, yeah, you can, but effectively, like, you're still using it just like as a mere means. That's kind of the point. Is like you are using it for one purpose, but with people and sentient beings, you cannot do it in the same way. Hello.
Hi, Mojo. Welcome on in.
Where's my mouse? There it goes. I'm moving it away. But so this is again Kant's own example, and it is quite possibly the stupidest fucking example of any kind of like ethical theory ever. So you are having breakfast with a friend. There's a knock at the door. Or sorry, I already kind of screwed this up because I've made it more complicated than it has to be. Your friend is in danger. They come and ask you, can you hide them? Keep them safe. You agree. Tell them to go into like the hallway closet. Murderer comes to your door. The person hunting them asks where your friend is. So, for Kant,
you can't
if you lie, you can't lie. If you lie, you're immoral. So for Kant, you have to say, well, I can't tell a lie. I told them to hide in the hallway closet. And
well,
that's already baffling because now you know.
Well, so you also told your friend that you can help them.
Correct.
So that means that you lied to your friend.
Correct. So it all falls apart as soon as you introduce one other person that does not abide by the rules.
Yeah, which should be the murderer.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is, was his example of why you should not lie in this circumstance. If you do lie and say you hadn't seen them and turn them away, your friend, who noticed that this is going on, leaves the closet and kind of escapes through the back door, and then meets the murderer on the way, because they just happen to cross paths at the same time. Therefore, it would be your fault for turning the murderer away. Which makes no goddamn sense.
That's not... it can't be your fault because under his own
That's what
terms,
Kant says. That is
under
what he says.
under his own terms, though, the
Correct.
murderer is his own means, so you cannot be at fault for the murderer's intentions.
Well, that's the thing. Effectively, you are also like, in not lying to the murderer, you are effectively using your friend as a mere means for your own moral superiority. Likewise, they are also using you as a mere means for their own safety. It just like, this is again an example from the man himself. It does not work.
No.
Just, it does not function. Any kind of like, the last thing, and this is kind of like the key piece of like how you discover if an action is moral. Universalizability, which is a hell of a mouthful. So, any action that you can take, basically, you have to like apply it. You might have walked into an interesting conversation. I don't know. I'm discussing philosophy, which means I am.
Hi, Zay. Welcome.
It's dangerous. It's very dangerous whenever this happens. But so, universalizability. Just again, just so. If you are going to take an action, you need to theoretically apply it universally. So, if you were to like say, you're very hungry, there's a bread place. You can just take a bread and leave. They won't notice. So now you have to apply like that stealing. Now, not only now everyone has to do it, and you have to do it like all the time. Everyone should always steal. That's kind of the implication. That doesn't work because then there would be no kind of no trust, no structure. It creates a paradox. So
yeah,
that would be an immoral action. That's kind of the big core of like how Kant's theories works. The problem is, say you are faced with more than two options. Like, or you're faced with only bad options. Like, say you're called into work to work late. Gotta do just, inventory. And keep track. At the same time, you have a test tomorrow. It's gonna be very difficult. You need to study for it.
Yeah.
So, which is the moral action to do? Is it to stay at work and do the inventory, or is it to study? Kant says neither and both, because it doesn't fucking work.
Neither and both. Okay, BRB, gonna go split myself.
This was the prevailing theory, the prevailing moral theory, and what most like laws and kind of current interpretations of morality are based on, because it was around for like 150 years unchallenged. I want to find this man, the man who is responsible for this, and just like, here is my moral act, and just beat the ever-loving fuck out of him.
With the sheesh.
Just the sheesh. But he deserves it. The kicker is, because of like deontology, like you cannot harm another sentient being ever. Like it's just immoral. It causes harm. It's causes a paradox. It's always immoral.
So
the man himself was one of the strongest proponents of capital punishment in his age. Figure that one out.
Huh. But that also comes into the fact of, does he not consider animals sentient?
No, he doesn't. That was a whole other thing.
Okay, because that would only make sense if he was a meat eater, if he didn't consider any living creature that wasn't human sentient.
There's a lot of problem with a lot of moral theories, but deontology in particular, just like, it just breaks apart at the seams with just like a slight poke. If you look into it any more than surface level, it just completely collapses. It's just like, man, How is this stuff still being taught if it's just like this miserable?
I don't know. I'm gonna be able to tell you.
There's not really any good answers, but just
So outside of slapping the shit out of him, you had a different answer, right?
outside of slapping the shit out of him. Yes. So this is a little bit personal, but I am named after someone. They are technically my like cousin once removed, but
Okay.
was
Sock
Israeli
Jacobs.
Special Forces. Passed before I.
Another self-care if you want to pick up another bottle.
I'll absolutely sip, but passed before I was born.
Okay.
I think I would like to just be able to meet him and have a conversation. I think that would be good.
Just get to know them better or like get a different perspective on things.
Yeah. So I actually his father, like we called him uncle even if he like wasn't really uncle. It was his, family. But
Yeah.
we were close. Uh he was only like recently where I was able to like actually talk to him and like ask, and it's like, so what was he like? And like have that conversation.
Yeah.
And it's odd. Like knowing you're named after someone who like realistically you could have met. Like were circumstances different, you would be
Yeah.
able to actually talk with them and like hearing about him. So again, when I say special forces, I mean there is a specific like there's a location in one of the military bases. I'm going to try and keep this as vague as I possibly can,
Yeah.
but there is a location in one of the military bases that is effectively like a memorial to those that are lost on like Black Ops. That is where his name is.
Okay.
So he was a very interesting individual, and not much is known to me, and I don't think there is a whole lot of information that can be known, especially not now since his father has also passed. That
Oh.
happened last year around January. It's a rough time,
Oh.
but he's someone I would like to meet. There's a kind of weird reverence knowing you were named after someone.
Yeah. I know
That
I
got a
was
little
named.
heavy. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was actually named after someone too. My oh god, my mother's father passed before I was born. Or passed before she was born.
Ooh.
Um he passed at a very young age. At I think like 2021-ish.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Uh
I guess
the short of it,
this is morbid, but it's just like congratulations, you're now the record holder.
right. The short of it without getting super morbid is he was working on a radio in a thunderstorm.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't
Yeah.
take me spelling it out.
No. No, no. No.
Here's one that I think I'm gonna put a spin on this question that's written down. Actually, just gonna change this because I'm gonna
Speed.
um What is your
Sweet.
favorite insult that either you've told someone else or someone else has told you?
Ah, man. Jeez. That's a hard one because I have a
Yeah.
lot of really good insults that I remember,
Oh,
and a lot of really good ones that I forget because like they just kind of go in and become part of the brain until I have need of them.
that's fair.
Uh, you might have noticed by now, but I'm a little bit snide and sarcastic. Who could have possibly guessed?
No, I would
Who?
never have known.
No, no.
Never
I'm
in
as
the
genuine
times
as
that
they come.
you've helped me fix my computer issues and everything. Hello, Vix.
Hi, Vix. I'm assuming this is IRL Vix, but
No, she redeemed headpats.
headpads.
Headpats for sock too.
I'm gonna forget that I put these on. I'm gonna put them on the snoot.
On the snoot. I have been yeeted.
Yay!
Wait, I have a face for that. Chat. How could you? I'm being pelted.
You are being pelted. But insults. Good insults.
Quite easily. Don't make me come over there, Chad. I'm looking at you. I see you, Chad. I like how you just kind of like slide around.
Yeah. I see you.
Come closer, they want to boop your nose.
Nah. Alright, hold on.
Look.
I need to decide which way to lean. Alright, quick, someone do it.
What are they doing?
Boop my snoot. Come on, you can do it.
What? Bonky's not booping. Why am I being bonked?
Alright, I'll consider that booped. Anyways. Where were we?
Your favorite insult.
Favorite insult. I think I have to go with like I'm gonna come up with like this is hard because I've been like I'm on the spot. And usually like my best insults come from like when I'm
Spur of the moment.
when I written spur of the moment. Because I do have some very, very, very nasty ones that I have used. But I think my favorite, at least in terms of like memes, is the classic of "Who's this clown?"
Who's this clown?
Because on the one hand, it implies that they are one, a clown, and two, not well known enough to be recognized. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
I've heard some interesting ones. I don't know if I have a favorite one. One of them is you're about as useful as a compass that doesn't point north.
Oh, actually, I do have a couple that I used from back when I worked in IT.
Okay.
And those would be, let's see, the problem is, or the PBAC or PBAK, No, it's sorry. PB KAC. There it is. As well as the classic of ID 10 Tango.
The ID10 and ID10T error.
That's the one. But the PBK KAC is a problem between keyboard and chair, or what is it? There's another one, just like if you know your shit, of the issue takes place at I think it's the eighth level of the IP. Yeah, because there are seven. The eighth would be the
The
user.
eighth would be the user.
Mhm.
Okay.
There's a lot of those which I've had to use on official documentation, where it's
Oh
like,
my
why
God.
won't this work? And it's like,
ID10T error.
it's there's a lot of simple stuff that gets lost.
This one might be interesting.
Might be interesting.
It's gonna be, well, probably will. This is gonna be a two-parter.
A two-part.
Yeah. If you could go back and have a conversation with your 18-year-old self,
Oh God,
what
that'd
advice
be
would you give
insufferable.
yourself?
No. I- That's a dangerous question, because my life took a weird turn post high school, shall we say.
Did it?
It did. Again, this is delving more into the IRL sock as opposed to the persona. But
Yeah.
after high school, I took a gap year and went to Israel, which is where I talked with my uncle there. It was actually during that trip. This was some time ago.
Some
So
time ago.
if you are going to go and take a gap year, this is my advice. Do not go on a program. Don't do it. Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. You don't want that. Not at all.
Was the, well, I guess that would be a little bit too much. Was it like because
A
it put you
little.
on a track that you didn't want, or?
No, it was because I was effectively a pariah because I did not participate in the festivities that were going on.
Okay.
So it was a bad time.
That's
A
fair.
year of being absolutely miserable.
That's fair.
It took many years of therapy to get over that.
Oh no.
Hey.
Since you've started, we'll limit this to streaming.
Streaming.
Actually, no, we'll limit it to podcasting, because that's a little bit
Podcasting.
wider. If you could go back, knowing everything that you know now, keeping the knowledge and stuff that you have now, would you go back and do it differently, or would you let it happen the way it did?
Mm. I think the only thing that I would really change is not to start with Audacity as the editing program of choice. There are few things quite as miserable as having to learn a new program for any kind of editing, like
Yep.
whether that be video, image, audio, etc. It is miserable because it's all familiar enough, but also different enough that it won't be able to work consistently like you expect it or want it to.
Yeah.
So Start with a better program. Spend the money. Get Reaper. It's fine. It's worth it. That was a year down the drain. God.
Oh, no.
That's time. I only have so much time on this mortal coil. I can't do it dealing with Audacity.
The audacity of you to think that that was a good program.
Exactly. The audacity of Microsoft. I don't think it's Microsoft that actually makes it, but the sheer unmitigated gall to release this as a high-rated program. Fuck off. It actually works fine, but also, like, if you are going to do it seriously, take it seriously. Actually, that's probably the best advice that I'm going to give to, like, anyone of this whole night. If there's something that you really want to try and you really want to get into it, like, take it seriously. No half measures. Because if you do have to go back, go full cheek. If you have to go back and, like, if you do want to take it seriously and, like, you do a half measure, that means that at some point down the line, you are going to have to go back and, like, do the rest. But usually, as is the case, if you're doing a half measure, it's not that you'll have to, like, just make up the other half. No, you will have to remove the half that you have done and then start that bit from scratch.
Yep.
Go in for the good stuff. This also applies with, like, air compressors. Get yourself a good air... If you're doing airbrushing, get yourself a good air compressor. It's better than the spending money on an expensive airbrush with a shitty compressor. Take it from me.
Is that the same advice or is it the same thing you would say that you can only that like it's a good lesson that you can only learn by jumping straight in?
Yeah, I would say so. Like there's people are taught from experience. A lot of circumstances and a lot of what we're doing now, like VTubing and streaming especially, there's like we're kind of laying the tracks as we're rolling. There's not too many people like that are that much ahead that can really speak to like this is how you do it. There's not really a guidebook. But even if this is like technically entertainment, there's still not really a guidebook for entertainment. You can't force yourself like you can't force people to like you, really. But at the same time, you're not going to know and you're not going to learn and you're not going to improve unless you do it.
Yeah.
You have to actually like dive in and do the thing.
And on top of that, don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Exactly. Improvement comes from iteration. Iteration comes from either failure or knowing that you can do better.
And on top of that, when I say don't be afraid to make mistakes, sometimes what you think might be a failure or a mistake either doesn't go noticed, or somebody else is like, that was great, and you're just like, but I did terrible. It's like they just gave you a compliment. You might think that you did terrible or had a mistake or whatever. If they enjoyed it, then it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Exactly. Like there's no real mistakes except for the ones like that you don't learn from.
Yes.
Because that's a choice. That is solely a choice. This is the dangerous part, is like you got me talking on philosophy and now I'm just like locked into that mode. Like it was like, hi Andrew, like, yeah, podcasting now. I'm just like, introspection. Someone get me a toga. I'm Socrates. Sockrates. I don't know if I spelled that right. I'm not paying that much attention.
This is the Socrates.
This is Socrates. I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna do a. Oh man, now I have to do a. I have to do a tier list of philosophers so I can do Socrates.
I want to see it. I now want to see a meme, which is just sock stonks.
Stonks.
Why am I being bonked for that?
They didn't like the pun. They didn't appreciate it.
Do you think you've had any unique challenges in any aspect of your content creation?
Oh god, yes. So, those of you that don't know, I rigged my model myself. So, because of that, I had to figure it out. Most, if not all, actually all of the ones that I found, but all of the tutorials of learning how to rig are for humanoid characters. Which meant that, like, I had to figure out how to translate what they were doing into this. This is not really a conducive shape for learning, despite being very simple. It turned out to be way more complicated. Do you know how many days it took me to figure out googly eyes? Worth it. But, you know, like, I would say that is a fairly unique challenge to me.
that is amazing. I do love absolutely love the job that you did.
Yay! Thank you.
Also, Noodles, welcome on in.
Noodles!
Which does actually pose an interesting question too, as a follow-up. Do you have any plans to revisit and or improve or change your current model?
Hold on. Yes. I don't think that actually tracked because I got, like, into my mic. But, you know, it's still fun. But I would like to draw Sock 2.0. I have other plans, future plans. I want to be able to turn. I think that would be fun. Well, we'll revisit this at a later date when I am not, like, in school. It's the effect. Love it. Good to hear. Happy about it. But yeah, the goal is that this is not going to be my final state. I love it. It makes me very happy. I am very amused. But also, I know that I can kind of lean into my aesthetic a little bit more than I am already doing. Yeah, the googly eyes were a problem because so when you're seeing, this is like a combination of like physics and the fact that like these have, I think, oh god, like 20 points that they can stop at, just depending on my motion.
Okay.
And then for the physics, in order to get them to like properly Google, they have to be slightly offset from each other, or else they would just move symmetrically. So it was a real challenge and real weird. Here we are, though.
Also, hi Tex, welcome on in.
Tex!
A load of these two cool dudes.
Where?
Where?
Is there another cool dude that I don't know about? I'm gonna fight him. I'm gonna get out my angry eyebrows again.
Get your angry eyebrows. Wait, we gotta get the other. We gotta get the other one out too. There's two of them.
Is this actually going to pin? Yes, it did. Cool.
I love how you can totally lean into everything with that, like the whole aesthetic. Like you can give yourself angry eyebrows, and they're so good.
It's literally just like I just requested like, can I get a purple pipe cleaner bent in a V? That was my request, and it works.
Rock'em sock'em.
I'm about to put up your dukes. Get over here. Oh, hold on. Coming for you. Yeah. Ah, a battle for the ages. Ah! This is to go further beyond. All right, that's enough of that. This has gotten too silly.
Oh my god. That reminds me of when I re-debuted, I was like, hey, one of the things I want to do is I want to start doing interviews with VTubers. So I was like, hey, we're gonna do my re-debut and I'm gonna do a mini interview with myself and I'm gonna mirror myself and talk to myself. I got like 3 sentences in and just started dying. Like, I was just making myself laugh. It was absolutely hilarious.
There can be only one.
There can be only one.
Who's asking how long am I?
That's new.
Indeterminate. I answered this question earlier, but I'm still gonna like. No one knows. Like, it just kind of keeps going. Don't question it too much. It is funny every time, especially because, like, I just get to have that on lock. Like, no one expects it, really, unless they're asking for it, or they've already seen it, and then it's just like, bam! But it is funny. Every single time.
So before I start getting into these off-the-cuff questions, do you have any questions that you want to ask me? You adding a mustache?
Yes. That's like Sucker's periscope on a submarine.
Sockscope. Oh my lord. Sock 2.0, you need to have like 20 links to yourself so you can just keep going.
Oh my god. I can absolutely just like keep adding stuff. Like there's it's not difficult for me to do so. But I can. There's a lot of shenanigans that people don't realize that you can do when you're rigging. It's a lot of fun to figure it out, but also a lot of them are just nightmarish.
So, one of the things that my one of the things that my rigger figured out on the fly, because he was streaming it, was the necklace here.
Oh.
He added the glare effect and the way that it shakes and everything.
You'd notice the glare. It's very good.
So like he actually added the way the lighting works. And then he also worked on if you look at my goggles.
Oh.
How it's lighter to one side and then darker to the other.
You'd notice that shadow, yeah.
He actually already updated it. It's actually in Of course, Tex has to just take the goggles as I'm showing them off. But it's okay, because I'm showing off the updated version right now. It has to be in front of me. But, if you actually look, he actually added an actual glare as I turn my head.
Oh, I forgot to download your goggles. I was gonna wear those. Wah wah.
Wah, wah. I do kind of want to see what they look like on. Oh, because you have to. Your window sharing.
Import them. It would be a whole thing. Later. Next time. All right. Here's my question for you.
Okay.
Actually, I have a few questions, but firstly, what is your favorite plane?
Favorite plane?
Yeah, if you had to choose one.
Oh God. Oh, let's see. Favorite plane that I've actually flown, or flown in. I haven't flown myself because it's technically a military plane. IRL. Would have to be the T6. For those of you who know what the T6, it is a training plane that they use to train the pilots for F-16s. It is a turboprop that can do up to 6 Gs before overstressing the airframe. Part of the reason I absolutely love it is because it gives you the feeling of flying in a jet without actually being in a jet, because it's a turbo. The person that was flying me, because it was a show, like they were just showing off, was the lead instructor. which meant that at one point he was doing it's a maneuver. I've told people it's a trick before, but it's a maneuver where he's flying out across a lake, body of water, and goes up like follows the landscape up a hill. And as he hits the peak of the hill, he rolls the plane over 180, like completely upside down, and then noses down to the back side of the hill. I very specifically remember this because at the top of the hill there was a stump, and I remember being able to count the petals on the flower that was on the stump.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
Yeah, that would do it.
it was wild.
God damn. Phew. Right.
But to ride in those, like, you have to like wear the full flight suit with like. So little known about the flight suit is there's actually like basically the equivalent of airbags that you wear on top of the flight suit whenever you're flying in these things, and they hook up to the plane themselves. So as the plane gets more G's, the bags of air actually inflate, because when you're in high G situations, the blood in your body is going towards your legs. So the air pockets are a physical reminder for you to basically clench your muscles to slow down that loss of blood from your upper part of your body to keep you from passing out.
Interesting. That does raise a follow-up question of, have you seen anyone pass out while in a plane?
I've seen videos and they're absolutely hilarious. So when we were up for that same training exercise, I was part of a group of people that were all going out for this little training. I wasn't being trained. It was more of a display at the time. Every single person that I was in a group with got sick, except for me. To the point where the planes went up in groups of two. The other person that was going up at the same time I was literally got sick mid-flight. It was bad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like it sounds like if you're hitting like 6 Gs, you need like the full flight suit, right? Like with a mask and everything.
You're supposed to, yes. We were fully suited up. If you're flying like level, you could take the mask off, because honestly, if you're flying in the middle of, like, if you're out in the middle of the desert, those cockpits get warm.
I would imagine so. Very condensed space, very close to motors.
Actually, the motor is not where a lot of the heat comes from.
Really? Is it the friction?
No. That's your own body temperature keeping you that warm.
Interesting.
Because the engine is on the exterior of the plane. Unlike a car where it's contained basically completely inside the car, and the only thing that really sticks out is the exhaust. Because even the radiator is contained inside. On a plane, 90, or not 90, but like, I want to say 50% of the engine is exposed to raw air. Like, we're not talking like it's being fed through a radiator. It's like the engine is literally exposed to the open air. So it's like there's no radiator in a plane, because
they don't really need one.
Yeah, you don't
just
need
go
one.
down in the air.
Exactly. The running joke in the industry is, how do you make a pilot sweat? You turn off the big fan in front of him.
Yep. Very good, very good. I had some other questions, but I lost them. They were in there.
I know you mentioned before stream talking about some of the gender stuff.
Yeah. I mean, well, we discussed that a little bit, but I'm non-binary. Sock and I, like, there's not a whole lot of line, like, the line between where I end and Sock begins and vice versa is very blurry, mostly because honestly, like the whole point is that it's me streaming. I am doing it because I enjoy it. This is the method by which I can like most simply get from A to B. A being I want to stream to like without showing my face while still being expressive. So
And that's very similar to me.
yeah,
Like I don't put on a voice. Outside of like how I'm doing an impression, I don't put on a voice. I don't really separate a character for Zemu. Um, there are some aspects that are obviously put in place because ultimately I'm an avatar, I'm a character.
yeah.
Um, but like,
Like
so
I'm
like my
pretty sure that you have legs in real life.
yes.
Pretty sure.
Although one of my knees is so bad, I kind of wish that I could just chop it off above the knee and just get a replacement. Just have like either have like a peg leg or whatever. I have no legs 100%.
Uh,
um,
reasonably certain, but like, I mean, the biggest example is like, sock is indeterminate length. In real life, I am small.
you're small.
I am like 5'3" on a good day. I don't have many good days either.
I am also small. I'm 5'6".
It's bigger than me. Ah, listen,
But
you only
yes,
need to be used as an armrest once to be sick of it.
I had a friend in high school that attended my wedding as my best man, um, who is 6'7" and counting.
And are they still growing?
Yes, actually.
Oh,
Last I checked he was. Um Mostly because I know that because when we graduated high school, he was only 6'5".
huh.
It came up in conversation, and that's how I know he was 6'7" at the time. Um
Interesting.
he had a thing back in high school called tall skinny white boy disease. And it wasn't actually a disease for those of you who don't know what I'm referring to. His lung collapsed.
Ooh.
His torso grew so fast that his lungs tore themselves apart trying to keep up.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was fun.
That I'm gonna challenge you there. I don't think that was very fun at all.
Mr. Sarcasm over there.
Who could have possibly foreseen? Uh, there, there are a few things that I find funnier than taking like. Okay, I have to get this out now because this is going to explain so much about me as a person. There are two things that I think are funnier above all other things. One, under-explaining a very complicated concept. Two, over-explaining a very simple concept. They are both very funny to me.
It's hilarious because if I talk about how planes function, like how they fly, like I can tell you the physics behind it. You want to know what actually makes a plane fly?
Is it air?
Money, magic, hopes and dreams.
Fair. Perfect. Excellent.
Actually, it's a lot more complicated than that.
Well,
But
yes, but it's less funny if you explain it that way.
but there's the funny thing about that though is we know so much about how a plane flies, but we still don't know completely why it flies. There's aspects that we still don't know about the physics that make a plane fly.
Interesting. I mean, there's aspects about me that I don't know how that works. I don't think that's too complicated.
Um, one of my that what came into my mind for whatever reason because I'm talking about planes. One of my favorite stories. I think it's the B. Is it the? I forget if it's the B-24. It might even be the B-13. There's a story about one of those planes where it's got so much wingspan compared to the weight of the aircraft, compared to the engine, like the strength of the engine. That one of the planes came back from a war zone. It literally landed, and it was missing 2/3 of its total wingspan. Like we're talking, it had a nub on one side, and then the other wing had a total of about 1/3 of its total wingspan, and it had a total of it had like one engine. It was flying on like the one, and it landed in control. It didn't crash. It landed, and then proceeded to take back off.
Well then. Also, because you can't see it, do remind me for my 2.0 to actually give myself eyebrows. So much of my expression is in my face, and I just look and I see just dead eyes bouncing around.
What's great though is when I do my faces, the expressions. If you actually look at my eyebrows, they go from the gradient to black.
Anime.
And one of the cool things that he did with it is I can do partial expressions. Or
oh god.
He did such a good job. Everything is modular. So like I could even make expressions live.
Ooh.
I think I did one of them during my debut.
Interesting. All right. So, now another question because it's something of interest to me.
Okay.
How do you feel about model kits?
Model kits?
Yeah. Like have you ever built a model plane?
So the ADHD person in me goes, I love models. I like to take them apart. I like to put them together. However, I also mentally know that me being ADHD goes, I just put together a model. What do I do with it now? And it's like I don't want to play with it because I don't want to break it. I don't want it to break down. I don't have storage space to put it somewhere. So what ends up happening is I don't end up playing with I don't end up putting together models or anything.
I see.
Because the ADHD brain, like ADHD part of me goes, hyperfixate on putting model together. Okay, I get it done really, really quickly. Now what?
Hey, this is the dangerous and good part about Gunpla, is because they are so articulated you can actually like play with them and change the poses and do all sorts of fun stuff with them.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
Yeah, that is one of the cool things.
Can't really do that with the plane, other than maybe like flick the
Carrot, hello, welcome on in. So Zay,
is that the Carrot Wizard?
That is the Carrot Wizard. Zay, Sock does Gunpla over on their channel.
I do, in fact, do Gunpla.
Also talks a lot about
sometimes award-winning Gunpla. That's not a joke, by the way. I have actually placed with some of my painted kits.
Say less, they say. Also, Sock has a very comfy atmosphere, although it can get chaotic at times.
It depends on how you feel about Burger King and sudden bouts of madness.
What do you call the button? Is it the
mystery button?
The mystery button.
The mystery button. Chaos mode, for short. Mode. Although I don't think it's actually any shorter, really. It's just it's like the same amount of it's not the same amount of syllables. It's less, but I'm making this more complicated than it has to be. You see, I'm doing the exact thing that I told you about. Behold!
Over explaining the simple thing.
You can't see the dumbest grin that I have with doing that, but it is there.
I can do absolutely shit-eating grin, quite literally. What's great is I remember somebody. So what was told to me by the rigger is they were streaming. They were talking about the model up on stream because they pulled it up and they're using an example to rig a current model. And they're like, when they do that mouth, you disappeared again. Oh, there you are.
Hold on.
Hi.
Ska's not dead.
So when they were doing that, they asked the rigger, they're like, well, one of the things that you did was you gave them that huge mouth where their nose disappears. And they're like, did you like rig their mouth like differently like that? Did you make it so that their mouth opens wide? And they're like, no, that's completely him. They're like, every time he just hits that button, he just gets a huge shit-eating grin, and that's just him every time. And I kid you not, I hit that button, and it just brings a huge smile to my face.
Excellent. Perfect. Ideal even.
So we all know that this happens among creators all over the place.
It's true.
Where you just get basically artist block.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're not an artist, like content creators just get mind block.
Yeah.
What is your preferred method to help you get out?
So I have a couple of ways of dealing with shenanigans like that. Usually, so those of you who are familiar, you might be aware of something called the Pomodoro method. It's a method basically like for focusing, where it's like some time on, take a break. Like it's shortened little bits. Like it's 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and then there's a longer break after, usually like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Good for just sort of like staying focused, because it kind of like, well, if you're having like a hard time focus, it's like less time that you need to invest.
Sure.
But also like you're doing it over a sustained period, so it works.
So it's like a way of basically tricking yourself into being like, I only have to focus for like short terms.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there is that. When it comes to artist block, usually what I find myself doing is basically like get the setup, have the idea of like what it is that I want to do. Like, so this is such a complicated thing, because for a lot of art stuff for me is more like, this is my relaxation, and it just sort of like comes together.
Yeah.
But there are times when it's just like, I don't want to build Gunpla, I don't want to paint, I don't want to do XYZ. But like in the back of my head, it's like, I do kind of want to do it. So I will set it up, I will have it ready, laid out, and basically like do something else. And what will happen is basically like it will sit in the back of my brain. I will be aware of it, that it's sitting right there, basically just like ready, waiting. Like all it needs is for you to just like go over and like pick up the tools and start working with it.
Yeah.
This is also like, this works great for like essays. This works great for like any sort of like schoolwork, where just sort of like you have the prompt and you have it like open and ready on one thing. Because here's the fun thing about the human brain: it's actually really good at focusing on stuff that you leave in the background. So like it's basically like it will work through a problem while you are sort of like not actively working on it.
Sure.
It's a if you've seen Men in Black 3, have you seen Men in Black 3?
Oh, it has been a very long time.
It's very good. It's better than you remember. Or
I'll
it
have
might
to go
be
back
as
and
good as
watch
you
it.
remember. I don't know. It's very good. It's good. Jermaine Clement, fan fucking tastic. But have something called like the pie method, where they basically like hit a block in the case and don't like have any leads and there's nowhere further to go. So what you do, basically take everything, put it all the way down, and go get pie. You just stop, leave it be, just go get pie, go do something else. Because your brain's gonna keep working even while you're not actively like focusing on it. And then you'll
Okay.
have that kind of like eureka moment when you figure it out and you do eventually like get back to it.
I know one of the things that's very similar to something I was told in college, which is to, if you get stuck, go take a shower.
Yeah.
And like between like in essence, it was like, go do something relaxing, go do something fun.
Yes.
I know my method for how I deal with it, because personally, really, that only happens if I ever get like a moment of like, oh, I'm supposed to stream today, but I really don't want to, or like I'm supposed to stream something and I really don't want to do that, and like I want to do something else. One of the rules that you guys will, one of my personal rules that you guys will know for me on my channel is I might put a schedule out, and that's mostly to let you guys know what's going on for the week. And like, and it'll tell you what times I'm going to be going live. I put like what I'm going to be playing there for people who might be interested. That's also me at the beginning of the week going, okay, if I play this day, I can balance it out with that game, and I can balance it out with that game, and then here's where we slot like an important stream. Each day, there is a small chance that I could, right before we go live, that I could go, hey, I didn't feel like playing that today, so we're going to be doing this. And I have done that before. And that is part of my mental savior.
Yeah. Just taking the pressure off yourself.
Yeah.
Like I said, you just kind of you lay out the tools, you have it ready. You don't have to like worry about like I need to do it. I should do it. Like should is the most dangerous word when it comes to like any sort of like art block.
Yeah.
Of like I should be doing this, and you're just like, yeah, but if you're trying to do that, it's not gonna work. The other thing I can think of, sort of like as my example for that, Kiki's Delivery Service,
Okay.
which is very very cute movie, love it.
Yes.
But the bit where she like, you know, is unable to fly and just like go out, go into the woods, like stop thinking about it, stop trying to force it, and eventually it's just gonna come back.
Yeah.
Like you'll get back to it when you're ready, but trying to force it is not going to do it. Take the pressure off.
For me though, it's I would say it's very rare for me to actually have a full on block where I'm like, I really don't want to stream today.
Yeah.
Because so me as a person, I didn't ask you I didn't ask you this question. I meant to, but I skipped over it for the sake of time for other questions. I'm I would consider myself a introverted extrovert, where I like my alone time. However, I also very much enjoy social interaction with people.
Yeah.
So streaming is one of my um outlets. Spending time creating content, hanging out with chat, getting to know people, doing all this kind of stuff. I I'm not in it for the money. Yeah, the money is nice. It helps fund, like it helps to fund really cool things like a like the bar, the model and stuff like that. But like if I'm being honest, I haven't made the money back completely. If I was doing it for money, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, at least the way I'm doing it. I do
Yeah,
this because
you'd
I
probably
enjoy
be playing like Stardew Valley
it.
or Minecraft. Like with there, a lot of people don't realize that there are like specific games that like really make you grow, but also like if you force yourself to do that and you're
Yeah,
just doing it for like I just want to grow, like yeah, you I can't say you're doing it for the wrong reasons, but you're not doing it for the reasons that I would.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I yeah, I very much enjoy this. It's an outlet, and it's when I re-debuted, um, seeing people excited about the future of the channel and like what we've been doing for the last almost month and a half, actually. And seeing people excited about the changes and with the new model and everything like that, it made me realize that I had been suppressing a part of my personality for the last I don't even know how
Really?
long. Um, because if I'm being honest, the world kind of sucks, and I suppressed it out of necessity.
No.
But I suppressed it out of necessity because I didn't have an outlet. I didn't have a creative outlet the way that I do now. And a lot of that came back, and I've definitely felt a lot more myself over the last. I mean, if I'm being honest, it started to come back when I started, but definitely came back in a flood about a month and a half ago.
Nice.
But yeah.
Very good. Happy for you. Proud at you, friend.
W.
Do you ever think about how W starts with a D?
It's also not two U's either. It's two
Yeah.
V's.
Mm-hmm. Bubble you.
Although it's in different, I think in a different language it's two U's, isn't it?
Maybe. Listen. Language is restrictive and hard and complicated and weird. Don't think about it too much. I do have another question for you. I think we
Okay.
talked about it a little bit previously. But so we're a couple of non-binary pals. This non-binary bar. There's no twos here. None allowed.
Not allowed.
Not allowed.
There's also a non-binary flag right here.
Hey, there we go. There we go. So, what does non-binary mean to you as kind of an identity? How does
So,
that kind of manifest itself?
so non-binary for me, um, I have to say it kind of unknowingly started manifesting itself back in, oh God, probably before high school.
Mm.
Honestly, it probably started really way earlier than that, but this one had probably started manifesting itself to other people unknown to me. Um,
Mm.
I've always been very opposed to gender norms.
Mm.
Both vocally and mentally opposed to gender norms. In particular, one of the ones that I keep going back to is uh, colors. Like the
Mm.
whole, oh, blue's a boy color, pink's a girl color, guys don't have good color theory. It's like there are male artists, or like women should be cooking at home. It's like there are male chefs,
Gordon Ramsay's right here.
right? Or like, or another one like, what, you don't want to be the breadwinner? You need to be the one to make the most money in like the relationship and stuff like that. I'm like, listen, if whoever I end up with makes enough money to support us all, and what it means is that I need to be a stay-at-home father, like to support a family. I will not only wear an apron, take care of the house, I will do it bare-assed naked if it makes them happy. But it gets the point across though of like I don't care about gender norms.
Mhm.
I will, in fact, if I have kids, I will raise kids in a non-gendered living. If I have a little boy and they want to wear a skirt, by goddamn, they're gonna have a skirt that matches a shirt, and they're gonna have a whole outfit that matches. I will teach them about fashion. I won't teach them about gender. Not in that way. I will educate them about gender, but I'm not going to be like, you're a boy. You need to be a boy. No, it's so that's kind of like my version of non-binary. It mostly comes from the society, like the society ideas of gendered stereotypes.
Yeah.
So I consider myself mask non-binary because I still go by he they.
Mhm.
And I know like I did a little bit of soul searching about it was just before I started streaming where I kind of realized I was non-binary, and I talked to a couple friends from college and I was like, "Hey, did you know I'm non-binary?" And they're like, "Yes." And I was like, "What?" Like, "Yeah." And turns out one of my other friends from college is also non-binary. Things that I've done to make myself more comfortable since realizing this. I paint my nails. I know, Saki, you know this because I've sent you them.
Yeah.
I started growing my hair out. I dye my hair. I go to a hairstylist who actually does my hair in a very feminine style.
Fun.
It's just little things to make myself a lot more comfortable in my own body. Um,
Yeah.
but part of that soul searching was also I didn't know at the time when I was doing this kind of a thing was like, am I having these feelings because I might have unknowingly been like trans? And I kind of found out through soul searching and kind of like pushing the barriers of my own mind, and whatnot. I kind of came to the conclusion that like, no, I don't think I'm trans. So then I kind of did some research and found what non-binary was, and realized that it's very flexible based on the person.
Yes. Yes.
What is your version of non-binary?
So, to me, it's a little. It's very personal, but fundamentally, I've never been super comfortable in my own skin.
Okay.
And well, not until recently, at least. Mostly because, well, I haven't ever really cared about a lot of sort of more gendered norms, especially when it comes to like likes and media, especially since I love stories and picking them apart.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it comes down to this. There are some days where I feel more masculine, there's some days where I feel more feminine, but most days I don't feel like anything at all. So I'm not
Interesting.
entirely agender, but I'm also like not entirely like one or the other most of the time.
Sure.
So that kind of falls in like there's the binary and I am not that. So this
And
kind of by default.
that's also like a weird version of you're not even quite gender fluid either. Because
No.
one of the things that, I mean, not saying that you couldn't be, but one of the things that's typical for gender fluid is you fluctuate from one to the other. And that's not the case for everybody, I know that, but that is common.
Yeah.
Dumb joke and
I
serious topics, socks are non-gendered clothing.
So it's funny that you should mention that because I get often asked a lot of the time if I am a left sock or a right sock. And I have three consistent answers. Firstly, I will alternate, which I think is very funny depending on how many times I've been asked that day. The other one is, who actually keeps track of whether their socks are like left or right? Honestly. Are you really keeping track of which sock is going on which foot every time? Like, do you have one labeled L, one labeled R, so that you can be sure that it goes on the right foot? Fuck off. Fuck all the way off. And then the third one, which is just like, I'm non-binary, I can go on either foot. So, That's kind of the joke. There's a lot. So actually, this
So
is where I can start talking about my design a little bit
so
because
so I'm going to
a lot of
preface
this
what I'm
was
about to
deliberate.
say of I did not buy these socks. These socks were bought for me. They're socks that are shaped. Because they're shaped, one is labeled L and one is labeled R. But that's mostly because they're very uncomfortable if you put them on the wrong foot.
That's a little bit of a different case, though. Like, I
Yes.
don't think you can put like the toe socks. I don't think those can really like go on either foot
They can't.
comfortably.
Hey, I don't keep track. I don't even match my socks. I'm too busy doing wizard stuff to care.
Exactly. Perfect. I'm sure someone does, but they're fucking weird, and I don't want to associate with them. Like, if you're regular, just like white Nike buying like a dozen pack of socks, if you're keeping track of which ones are left and which ones are right, you're a weirdo. I'm sorry. I'm not actually that sorry, but you know. But design
Sock is
time.
a good guest. Sock is an amazing guest.
Thank you. Aw, my heart. But yeah, so I'll dip up a little bit. So there's actually a lot of intentionality that went into this design. So you also know that I am demisexual. I on the asexual spectrum. I think that's
Yeah.
gray ace technically. So as you can see, behold the colors of the ace flag. I got the right purple. I got the gray, the white, and the black. The only thing that I would be missing for non-binary really is the yellow. I was figuring out a way to try and work that in, but ultimately couldn't come up with anything that was reasonably suitable. But
you know what's
yeah,
amazing, by the way?
great gang, let's go. Let's fucking go.
So
Let's go.
so you know what's amazing is my design incorporates all of the non-binary colors and then adds in blue.
Yeah. Gang, gang.
The original design was a lot simpler. I'm actually gonna pull it out for this just to display it a little bit. It's gonna be weird, I will say.
Round Zemu.
It's this one.
Soft Zemu.
So I will preface this and say that it is
Original
Chibi model.
Zemu is soft Zemu. It's so round.
But it was created and the colors were picked because of the non-binary flag. So you get the black in the bottom of the sweatshirt. You get the yellow on the hood, and then you've got the purple and white. And then the blue was added to add a little bit more color depth, and because blue is a very complementary color to white and purple.
It's like it's a nice mid-tone.
Yeah. And then that was further brought forward into my current design.
Yeah.
Matching the current design has a style very akin to if you know Archer.
I am familiar with Archer. I
The
don't
artist,
remember where I fell off the wagon, but I am familiar.
The artist has a very like their chosen style is self-described as Archer. A lot more a little bit more comic than Archer, but that is a lot of where their style comes from.
I can see it now that you mention it.
The face is where a lot of it is.
Yeah, like I love your design because it's very kind of more Western style.
Yeah.
In like a, what is a sea of very like Eastern anime style.
In a sea of anime creatures, the one who stands out is the Western comic style.
Yeah, it works.
But yeah, he played with the contrasts because when you play with contrasts and you make the blues darker, and lighter, you make the purples darker and lighter. You can add things like gradient. You can add things like I'm gonna zoom in on the wing a little bit and I'm gonna extend it out. Hold on. You can add things like colored feathered design, like details.
Ooh.
So the blue feathers have the blue detail, the purple feathers have the purple detail. Like that's one of the things I absolutely love about the fact what he did. And when it came down to the design, I gave him a lot of freedom as long as it stayed roughly true to the original design.
Yeah. It worked out. It works out very well for you. Is that
It is
the
a sock.
slime witch? Vivi?
If I could get a shout out for Vivi and Carrot when you get a chance, Z, that'd be appreciated.
Hey, can I get a shout out for Zimu? Because recursion is funny.
And also, if I could get another shout out for Kisa while you're at it, Z, I'm gonna make you work.
Shout yourself out while you're at it. I think that's funny too. I'm in charge now.
Unfortunately, unlike you, I don't have the thing that auto plays clips.
That's really easy to set up. I could give you the thing, but
I had it set up.
It's a little jank.
It's a little jank. Plus, it is a little bit off-putting. For instance, like if we're doing this kind of a thing, and then someone pops in the chat and somebody does a random shout out, and then it comes over our whole conversation. It's one of the reasons I don't do it.
Yes. So I believe on my collab scene, I have that actually like turned off. Like it's a different set of notifications, but I think that's the only one that doesn't.
Yeah,
I had to get weird for that.
The other thing too is I don't 100%. So I have like an auto clipper where chat can press a button and it auto clips the last 30 seconds.
Ooh.
And it's got a 1 minute cooldown. I can show you how to do it.
I hope someone caught my fight.
I don't know if they did. I can go back and go. I definitely am going to go back and clip that if nobody else does.
VOD watcher, I'm trusting you. Hashtag googly eyes.
So part of that though is, if somebody goes back and they just auto clips the last 30 seconds, but the actual fun bit of that clip is like 45 seconds long, I've now gone back and I've extended that clip out by making another clip, which means that there's two versions of that one clip that exist. And if I don't go back at that time that I'm making it to delete the original one, now I have one that doesn't have the whole fun bit in it.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I don't use it.
Yeah. That's fair. That's reasonable.
And it's not easy to find which clips line up with each other so you don't get any duplicates.
Oh yes. I've had a couple of people where shouting them out is basically it's Russian roulette, but in whether or not it's gonna be like a really sus clip, so it's Sussian roulette. That joke worked better in my head than it did aloud. That's unfortunate. Whoops. Oopsie doodles.
I know the other thing too that people don't realize the way that Twitch works is let's say you come into stream and we're mid-sentence or mid-bit or whatever, and you want to, without really going back and rewinding the entire VOD because we're live, so you use the clip tool to go back and look because it's like 5 seconds before you hopped on. It creates a clip. Regardless of whether you wanted to or not, it creates a clip. And so like there are potential clips that just aren't anything.
Yep. It's the way Twitch works is weird, but it's also like they've done such a good job of like gamifying their platform to make it like palatable for people, like gift subs, raids, bits.
There's also the channel points.
Channel points, especially.
Like one of the biggest things that I would have if like let's say that somebody were to say, hey, there's this other platform out there, you should jump ship. Because like let's say everybody else is doing it. I would be like, do they have an equivalent of channel points? Because there's nothing that more readily rewards viewers than channel points.
Yeah.
Because there's one thing to go like, oh yeah, I like them for their content, but I can go watch their VODs. But what's the
Exactly. Like,
different about watching us live is like the channel points. You literally get rewarded, and you guys throw a shit ton of stuff at me.
I gesture to the mystery button.
Exactly.
You think I would just go to Burger King on request? No.
It
It
has
has
to say
to be
on
earned.
cue. Also, for those of you in chat who might not have noticed by now, I added a new redeem today. I set it currently at 1,500. I might lower it to 1,000. I found out yesterday or the day before, it was in a VC, that apparently I can do a Doofenshmirtz impression.
I'm surprised that you have not put the nose toggle as like one of the redeems of just like steal my nose. Like they can steal your goggles, they can steal your nose.
The only problem with that though is it will lock me out of the expression.
Oh, that's true.
So like I can do this and it will trigger it, but it'll come back after whatever. I can push it again to come back, like to do back. But then like oh god. Okay, we got two innators. Okay, hold on. But so here's the slight issue with that is if I'm doing the face where it's hiding my nose and then somebody redeems steal my nose, it pops it back out.
Ah.
Or like alternatively, if like let's say I've just come out of it and then somebody immediately pulls it back in, it just becomes hard to manage. That's really all it is.
That's fair. Fair and reasonable. Although got your nose is just like I don't know if I'll be able to beat that. It's just like a name.
So fair warning, it probably is going to be a little bit loud because obviously I have to try to impersonate the voice. So we've got Patty the Platypus. I have the Potato-inator. It takes people and turns them into potatoes, and I will take over the world.
I mean, don't you mean the tri-state area? But
the
there you go.
The tri-state area.
There you go. That was really good, though. Major kudos.
And then we've also got hold on, Grayson the. Oh my god. And then we've also got Penny the Platypus. We've got the Pet the Vivianator. I don't know why I have this one, to be honest. I think it just placates the little slime because otherwise she'll get into trouble.
Fair and reasonable.
Can you do any impressions?
Not really on command.
No.
No. They just kind of happen and I can't really like start like they'll just go off on their own. I mean, decent Australian accent that I can do, but that's a little different. Also, I feel like we're kind of at this point we're kind of just riffing, and I don't want to drag you out for like 4 hours.
I mean, I've done a 4-hour stream before. I'm here as long as you're okay.
Well, it is like midnight, and I haven't taken my melatonin yet. And I'm also kind of looking forward to the weird sugar dreams that I'm going to have from eating all these airheads.
I do have one more inator to do because chat redeemed it. And I would say I would save it for later, but I know Carrot doesn't make my streams a lot, so we're going to do that one.
We'll do it. Let's do it. Let's hear it.
Penny the Platypus, we have the brother inator. Did you know the God Emperor himself needs to bolster his defenses, so all of the tri-state area will now become Space Marines?
Oh God! I'm gonna try this. We'll see how it goes.
Disgustingly good. Thank you.
I'll tell you what, brother.
I love that.
Alright, Carrot, this one's going out to you. Are you ready, brother? Because you are the cream of the root vegetables, the top of the bottom. Ooh, yeah. How was
I
that?
love that. I love that. That's amazing. Macho Man.
I am the macho, the absolute pinnacle. Oh, hold on.
Alright, go ahead. You can keep doing your bit. I'm reading it. I know what this is. It's the Skyrim copy
as soon as it's
pasta.
like, as soon as I saw the first line, it's like, yeah, I see that. Stop! You violated the law. Pay the court a fine or serve your sentence. Your stolen goods are now forfeit. Then pay with your blood. Backpedals into the woods.
So we've got hey, you! You're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right? Walked into that Imperial ambush. Same as us. And that thief over there. Damn you, Stormcloaks! Skyrim was fine until you came along. Emperor was nice and lazy. If they hadn't been looking for you, I could have stolen that horse and been halfway to Hammerfell. You there. You and me. We shouldn't be here. It's these Stormcloaks the Emperor wants. We're all brothers and sisters in binds now, thief.
Oh, I've got something special.
Oh my god. VV. What is this?
I'm not reading that. Nope.
I
will do this one.
We're not gonna redeem that. We're not gonna read that one.
Nope.
We're not getting political with these.
I will do this one for Carrot.
If we can refund that one, we're not gonna get political with these.
Carrot, this may kill you, but oh god, I gotta take a sip before I do this one. You're not ready for this either. This is gonna be very appropriate for my model.
Context
From
or
the
not,
moment I understood the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me. I craved the strength and certainty of steel. I aspired to the purity of the blessed machine. Your kind clings to your flesh as if it will not decay and fail you. But one day, the crude biomass that you call a temple will wither, and you will beg my kind to save you. But I am already saved. For the felt is immortal.
Yes, I have that memorized. I don't even need to look it up.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Okay. You know what? That might be my favorite insult that I've gotten. That I have received. It was honestly like, I don't know how to take this, so I'm going to just accept it as a compliment. It was on a dating app. The interested party said that I had Kermit the Frog energy. And just like, I'm not really sure what this means, to be honest with you, but I'm just gonna accept it and move on. But that one's for you, Carrot. I hope you enjoyed.
I would read it, but we are trying to kind of work on wrapping up.
We're trying to wrap up. Zimu, when can we next expect your stream?
So I'm going to be taking the rest of the week off because I'm going to be moving this weekend. And next week I'm also planning on taking off, so I'm actually not going to be live again until, oh god, let's see. I would expect around the 15th.
Will you be doing a Thanksgiving stream?
Will I be doing a Thanksgiving stream? Because Because I'm a bird. Is that why you're asking?
Have some bird that day. Everyone celebrate with a bird.
I
think that would be funny, but also I'm a little bit.
It would be
I'm
funny.
a bit of a misanthrope.
So November is going to be an interesting month because there's a whole lot of family stuff that needs to happen. There might be a whole lot of traveling in there, so streams might be a little bit sparse. Just for the sake of not overwhelming myself between travel, work, and streaming.
Fair, valid, reasonable.
When is the next time that you're going to be live?
Tomorrow at 1 p.m. So like literally 12 hours from now, or 12 and a half hours from now. You know, as one does.
That's fair.
But yeah, I'm going to be doing Gunpla. We're going to be building finishing the Master Grade Shardzaku 2 2.0. It's very pink.
Very pink.
The only thing that we have missing is the arms, the weapons, and it came with like a little crane thing. That's cute. So got that.
Okay.
On Thursday, the following day, I will be doing a Dominion collab, which is my absolute favorite deck building card game, with Larkiverse and Sadbot VT, who I'm not sure if you are familiar with on either account, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably going to get my ass kicked, even though I love the game, because I'm not terribly competitive.
No.
On Saturday, I'm going to be doing more Gunpla, and then I will be taking the following week off because I'm showing a guest around my state, as they are traveling from very far away. Other than that, it's standard operating hours, which is Wednesday Gunpla, Sunday point and click adventure games. I don't have much else planned beyond that.
And other than your Twitch, because I'm going to put the collab in here, the collab command in chat. Where can people find your any other types of content that you might produce?
Well, you can go onto Twitter and see all of the things that I retweet and shitpost. That's pretty much it. I do have a Discord that I mostly ignore. Although Discord is probably the best way to get in contact with me. Yeah, it's pretty much those couple of places while I am still focusing on school. Don't really have a VODs channel, but figuring that out. I might be in more places after this. Who knows? I sure don't.
Reminder for those in chat, if you do !socials, it should pull up a link to my Linktree. It should have a link to everything there. I have started, as of the month of October, producing content for YouTube Shorts, for TikToks. I also post my VODs to my YouTube channel. And the link to my Discord should also be there, as well as my Twitter if you're not already following it. Basically, that's like a one place to find them all.
Right.
As I've been doing with everybody who comes on, do you have somebody in mind that you would like to raid?
I have no idea who is online right now, so hold on. I'll bring up Twitch on my phone. I do also have... Oh, one other thing that I should probably mention is that I technically have commissions open. If you need any D&D dungeon tiles, I'm more than happy to make those. I have them at standard Dungeons and Dragons size. They're double-sided. You know, fun stuff. Let's see.
Zay's excited for D&D dungeon tiles.
Yeah! If you ask, I can send pictures, but I like to think that I'm pretty good at them. Yeah, let's raid. I'm gonna request Magic Marionette.
Magic Marionette?
Yeah, she's fun. You'll all like her. This I swear. Truthfully, most of the people that I watch are not online, but at this point of the at this hour, the haunting hour.
Also, so this is my typical raid message. Would you like to change it at all?
I'm guessing it's a.
So it's the Wendy raid emotes.
Let me get Discord open. Tweet. Scrolling down. Where have I been tagged? What the fuck? I'm just still thinking about like that feeling when you bite into a pickle and it's a little squishier than you expected. Like, I'll be totally honest. That's kind of where my head's at.
Like a chat's not gonna get an explanation on that one.
No. Shout out to Brian David Gilbert. That's all you need to know. Look it up. You'll know when you see it. Yeah, the Nest sends regards. I think that's fine.
Okay.
That should be fine.
So we're gonna go ahead and get that raid started.
Yeah. And then we'll both be able to go to bed. Hooray!
Thank you very much for coming on, Sock. You have been a fantastic guest.
Thank you for having me. This has been an absolute joy and a pleasure. Those mean the same thing.
We still leave they didn't. As I mentioned before stream, anytime that I have an open nest or anything going forward, I'll either mention it on Twitter or I'll mention it through Discord. You are more than welcome to come on at any time.
Happily. Although I cannot promise that I will bring the energy that I brought today, because this has been kind of all over the place. And now you see how fully deranged I actually am. The veil has been lifted.
We appreciate it.
I can hide no longer.
Yeah, I can hide no longer. But yeah, I hope everybody has a fantastic night. And I hope to see you all after the break. And I hope you all go back to see Sock tomorrow.
Yeah. Although I do have homework for you. Listen to Beethoven's Egmont Overture. Not for any particular reason, but because I told you to.
I was going to go to my ending screen, but it's going to run out. So have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody!
Just going to give it a second before I stop the stream, just because I've had it recently where people don't get pulled by the raid.
The raids have been real strange lately. I don't know what's going on with them. Oh,